যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।
Why is it that every live stream I forget to turn on my mic? Maybe because I do it after so many days these days. The gap is so long. That's why maybe. So guys, thank you for joining the live stream. First of all, and I hate to ask for money and stuff. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to have a respite from asking for money anytime soon. So the countdown was, of course, for the ton of bricks. Some of you all guessed it correctly, Varun Dev, etc. And some people donated for my case squashing, etc. Now, the amount I was saying that I need for the quashing of the case, I said about 50-60,000 practically. That was, I realized, just for the filing. And just, I think, 1 or 2 weeks back, some verdict came out in Supreme Court, which made the quashing process much tougher. And the grounds, the hoops that we have to go through are now a little tougher. The criterion are now more, and so therefore the process will be a little more long. So I'm going to need, for the entire complete case quashing, I need pretty much 2.5 lakh rupees, which I need in the month of October, end of October, and probably entire November will go in the case quashing and its hearings, my lawyer's appearance fees, etc. So again, donate whatever you can. And did you all just see what Justice B.R. Gavai said regarding Vishnu worshippers and the Vishnu idol? I won't comment on it right now, not because of my case and stuff, just because there's no way to talk about it without getting pissed off and using some offensive words. But do check it out on Google. Every day, something insanely, fascinatingly bad happens. There's no end to it. How can someone say this? It's pretty incredible. Not in a good way. And do check out the comment. So now we are going to check out the Libertarian Party of India's manifesto. And I'm glad to see M. Shastri is here, our resident libertarianism hater, and challenger is here, who thinks that Indian libertarian Ajay Malla Reddy's personal views are the views of the Libertarian Party of India, which is not the case. But we will go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see what are the things we like and dislike. Is there a lot of ANCAPism and stuff? Some of them, some people from the party, I think, have pretty much explicitly now said that yes, we hope someday to reach ANCAPism, and that's a retarded view to have. That's a retarded ideology to have. But whenever they seemingly will be getting to that point, we or our future generations should hit the brakes on that, because I personally, and no one in India, no even libertarian, should have any sympathy or time for an idiotic idea like anarcho-capitalism. Let's see what are the views of the Libertarian Party of India right now. Ash Ketchum is saying they refuse to discuss eminent domain. I guess it's not so feasible. Okay, let's start. This is going to be impossible with just one hand. So it's just a 26-page document. We'll go through it line by line. The theme right now is Swatantrata se Samriddhi, prosperity through freedom, which I think is a noble idea. And that is how it works. Swatantrata, prosperity, Samriddhi cannot happen without freedom. Let's see. A day in the life, Raj, a fictional person in Libertarian India in 2045 CE. In the year 2045, India has transformed into a libertarian society after decades of reforms that dismantled centralized government controls, slashed taxes to minimal levels, privatized most services. See, minimal levels, not zero, which means they have no ancapism, chutiapa in their minds right now, at least not in this document. Privatized most services, not all services. So, protection of life, liberty, and property remains the duty of the government. Minarchism, in other words. And enshrined individual rights and free markets as the cornerstones of society. The bloated bureaucracy of the past, plagued by corruption, inefficiency, and overregulation, has been replaced by voluntary associations, private arbitration, and community driven initiatives. Problems like poverty, unemployment, pollution, caste discrimination, gender inequality, religious tensions, overpopulation strains, inadequate education and healthcare, crumbling infrastructure, water scarcity, inflation, and geopolitical vulnerabilities have been largely mitigated through deregulation. So, geopolitical vulnerabilities have been largely mitigated through deregulation, innovation, and personal responsibility. So, they do believe that geopolitical vulnerabilities should not exist. An ANCAP retard would not believe in that. Here's a glimpse into a typical day for Raj, a 32-year-old software entrepreneur living in a bustling, self-governing neighborhood in New Mumbai, formerly Mumbai, where market forces and individual choices drive progress. Raj stirs awake in his compact nuclear-powered apartment built by a private cooperative that emphasizes eco-friendly designs. Gone are the days of crippling air pollution that choked cities. No, I'm sure it's not right to get to the policies directly, because in the end uh, they will be subject to interpretation, and I want to get to their interpretations of their own policies first. So let's see, what are they selling? What kind of a dream are they selling us? Let's see. This will be the hypothetical India. Gone are the days of crippling air pollution that choked cities like Delhi in the 2020s, caused by overregulated industries, subsidized fossil fuels, and government mismanagement. In libertarian India, environmental protection thrives through property rights. Polluters face swift private lawsuits from affected communities, incentivizing clean tech adoption. Raj's building uses recycled water from a local desalination plant run by a competitive private firm, addressing the water scarcity that once led to crisis in states like Rajasthan. No more government rationing. Market prices ensure efficient use, and innovations like affordable home filtration systems have made clean water ubiquitous. Poverty, which afflicted over 20% of the population in 2025, has plummeted as low taxes and free trade lifted barriers to entrepreneurship. Raj himself started from a modest background, bootstrapping his AI startup without needing permits or bribes. Not to nitpick, but if you are looking to do AI startups, even in 2045, I guess we are never going to be too cliched about AI startups, maybe. So 7 a.m. breakfast and family time. Over a simple meal of fresh organic fruits and vegetables sourced from deregulated farms, Raj chats with his wife Priya, a freelance engineer, and their 4 kids. 4 kids, guys. Gender inequality, rampant in the past with issues like women's safety and unequal opportunities, is a relic. Libertarian emphasis on individual rights means no state-enforced quotas, but voluntary network and private security firms ensure safe public spaces. Priya works flexibly from home, earning equally through merit-based gigs on global platforms, unhindered by outdated labor laws that once stifled female participation. The family discusses the day's plans without the shadow of inflation or rising prices that burdened households in 2025. Sound money policies, backed by private cryptocurrencies and gold standards and free markets, keep costs stable. No more subsidized food schemes breeding corruption. Farmers thrive in a deregulated agricultural sector, reducing suicides and boosting yields through private insurances and tech like crops. Commute to work. Raj hops on an autonomous electric pod from a ride sharing co op, zipping through smooth, privately maintained highways. Why isn't he flying to his office? Infrastructure woes, potholed roads, unreliable power, and overcrowded trains from the overpopulated 2020s have been solved by privatizing transport and utilities. Competing firms bid for routes, ensuring efficiency without taxpayer waste. Overpopulation strains eased as economic freedom spurred urban planning. Competing firms bid for routes. Bid in front of whom? The arbitrators, who are also known as a government, also a concept hated by anarcho-capitalist retards. Overpopulation strains eased as economic freedom spurred urban planning. High-density smart cities like New Mumbai use voluntary zoning, attracting migrants with jobs rather than welfare traps. Nice. Unemployment, a massive issue in 2025 with millions entering the workforce monthly, is low at under 3%. What is India's unemployment rate right now? Can anybody give the stats? Deregulated MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises flourish, creating roles in tech, services, and manufacturing. Insurance companies have taken a major role in protection of people from unfortunate circumstances, and innovative forms of insurances solving several cases have come up. Although Manuvadi commies would tell you that insurances are largely scams, and even though every insurance company is a scam, somehow everybody keeps buying insurance. Raj's commute is quick and safe with no traffic jams from government monopolies. Instead, AI optimized networks handle the flow. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. work and economic freedom. At this co-working space, a vibrant hub funded by user fees, Raj dives into coding for his AI ethics firm. Corruption, which eroded trust in institutions back in 2025, is minimized. With minimal government, there's little room for bribes or cronyism. Yes, if you don't give them the power, they can't misuse the power. Power has to be given in pieces to lots of groups and organizations. With great responsibilities comes great power, therefore. Don't give governments, third-party non-stakeholders too much responsibility, guys. Disputes are resolved via private arbitrators, fast and fair, a word hated by M. Shastri here. Economic growth hums at 8 to 10% annually, fueled by free trade that counters global headwinds like US policy shifts. Geopolitical risks such as tensions with Pakistan or supply chain disruptions are buffered by diversified private alliances and hard currency tech, reducing dependence on state diplomacy. Raj collaborates with a diverse team. A Dalit colleague from a formerly marginalized community excels without caste reservations. In libertarian India, merit rules and voluntary charities provide education scholarships, eroding discrimination through opportunity rather than mandates. And same can be done by temples when they are free. Lunch break and social harmony. Raj grabs lunch at a street vendor co-op, savoring fusion cuisine amid a multicultural crowd. Religious and communal tensions, which fueled violence in the 2020s, have faded. Without state favoritism or divisive policies, individuals practice faiths freely, with private mediators handling conflicts. Attacks on minorities are rare, as armed self-defense rights and community watches deter threats. Attacks on minorities are rare even now. This part seems to be written by our ANCAP bros in the Libertarian Party. Attacks on the majority is what is not rare, and they are the ones who are in dire need of self-defense rights. The state intervention in matters of Hindus has ended by freeing Hindu temples, which have been going on a renaissance, and building marvelous structures using donations and running institutions building on foundations of the dharmic philosophy. Civil liberties thrive. No more restrictions on speech or association. Misinformation and cyber crimes are tackled by private platforms with user driven moderation, not censorship. Raj picks up his kids from a private academy where fees are affordable due to competition and tax credits. Education quality, abysmal in government schools of the past, soars. Parents choose curricula from STEM to vocational, fostering innovation and closing the digital divide. Later, he visits a clinic for a routine checkup. Healthcare access, limited and overburdened in 2025, is now universal through private insurances and charities. No waiting lists. Market incentives drive affordable treatments, with telemedicine linking rural areas. Climate change challenges like extreme weather are addressed via private insurances and adaptive tech, turning vulnerabilities into opportunities for green jobs. Back home, Raj joins at 5 p.m. Raj joins a neighborhood volleyball game in a park maintained by resident dues. Income inequality has become irrelevant. Philanthropy and mutual aid societies and insurance helps the needy without coercive redistribution. Evening brings family time, streaming global content without censorship, discussing ideas freely. As Raj winds down, he reflects on India's journey. The libertarian shift wasn't easy. Transitions from statism sparked debates, but it unleashed human potential, solving entrenched problems through freedom, not force. No utopia, but a society where individuals thrive, unburdened by state's heavy hand. This day illustrates how libertarian principles could reimagine India, empowering people to tackle issues collaboratively, fostering prosperity and harmony. To turn this vision into reality, this is our plan. Decentralization, first and foremost, free cities of India. The problem: unelected babus, also known as third party non stakeholders, are running our cities instead of elected representatives. States are keeping cities hostage. For example, Maharashtra, Mumbai, Karnataka, Bengaluru. Voluntary governance and competitive jurisdictions. Our vision: whole cities like DLF Gurugram, Hiranandan Powai Mumbai, Magarpatta Pune, GMR Aerocity. Centralized state control suffocates cities, enforcing uniform rules, seizing local revenues, and denying self rule. The top down model violates the principle of voluntary cooperation. Our principle: cities as voluntary associations, governance is a service, not a monopoly. Citizens must be free to choose governance models, control local services, options to switch from failing models. Our goal: sovereign free city zones, or FCZs. We aim to replace state control with self governing opt in city republics empowered to: one, cities will decide their own priorities, retain most locally collected taxes, use voluntary fees and contributions, 24/7 cities to boost economy, privatize as many municipal services as possible, eliminate FSI FAR requirements, neighborhoods can choose their own service providers, multiple private arbitration using common law, building safety through insurance and torts, not codes. Tort law probably doesn't even exist in India. The best way to replicate something resembling tort law is to just counter sue. Privatize city assets, replace councils with contract managers. Next, institutional reforms. Restore justice to the people. The problem: a closed elitist judiciary monopolizes justice. The collegium system lacks transparency. Courts are slow, costly, and unaccountable. Judicial activism overrides the constitution and citizens alike. Our principle: justice as a competitive, accountable service. Judges must be confirmed by citizens, not selected by insiders. Courts must serve, not rule. Private arbitration and jury trials must become the norm. Our goal: break monopoly, create a citizen controlled judiciary. We will abolish the collegium, replace with jury confirmation panels, citizens plus lawyers, citizen oversight committee. Judges will be elected directly by citizens and they would be held accountable. 12-member jury trials for criminal and major civil cases. Private arbitration as default for civil or commercial cases. Universal fast track courts, mandate 180-day resolution for all cases. Use night or shift courts and year-round operation with 100% e-filing with AI-based docket management. Zero abuse policy, lifelong disbarment for judicial corruption. Liberating policing from state control. The problem: India's police are tools of political coercion, politicized command, honest officers punished for defying illegal orders, torture, and deaths. 1,731 custodial deaths from 2021 to 2022 alone. Holy shit. Zero convictions. Bribe economy. 15,000 crore rupees per year extorted from citizens. When constables salute MLAs, not magistrates, the uniform becomes a gangster's costume. Our principle: security as a voluntary competitive service. Local accountability. Neighborhoods elect their police chiefs. Choice over force. Citizens can opt out of state police. Restitution over punishment. Justice that compensates victims, not just punishes offenders. Our goal: abolish UPSC cadre, end the All India police bureaucracy, body cameras and live streams mandatory for all officers, decriminalize victimless crimes, free police from enforcing morality like gambling, adultery, etc. Localize command. Cities select sheriffs with full control. For example, Mumbai police reports to Mumbaikars, not Maharashtra CM. Private security. Anyone can start licensed security firms. Civil liability. Sue officers directly for misconduct, which we can't really do right now. Abolish custodial powers. Arrests only with warrants. All interrogations video recorded. Nice. End state versus accused model. Focus on victim versus offender mediation. Private investigation. Citizens can hire detectives. No police FIR monopoly. Transparency. Every rupee traceable. Sunlight is the ultimate disinfectant. The problem: secrecy fuels corruption and tyranny. 12 lakh crore per year lost to graft. 78% RTI appeals ignored. Whistleblowers silenced. 68% defense spending classified. That though is necessary. Bureaucrats, some of it might be corruption as well. I'm not sure about this point. 68% defense spending classified, because some of it has to be classified, I think. Bureaucrats demand our data but hide their own. By the way, I forgot to put one thing up in the community tab. The discussion will be open for our members. So let me just share the link there, okay? After I'm done discussing the document, the paid members can join in and share their thoughts on the Libertarian Party manifesto. Let me just share the link. Done. And Academic Man might join if he's free as well. Okay, let's continue. Abhay, Khap panchayats are not private arbitration for the same reason that badlands of UP Bihar are not anarcho-capitalist models. Okay, that's the part people keep getting wrong. You can't have something in law, have a gigantic budget to enforce it theoretically, and then never enforce it. Therefore, the corrupted version of that, the distorted version of those laws, are the powers that we give to the law enforcers, etc. The money we fucking pay them. All of that trickles down to people who distort it and then run their parallel government anyway. That is a massive section of and level of degree of distortion, inefficiency, leakage of time, resources, our funds, and in general incentivizes corrupt behavior. Therefore, Khap panchayats are not private arbitrations. If they existed in a libertarian society, then probably yes. If you have a problem with Khap panchayats, you can move out and stuff, but not right now. And everyone can't move out. But in the end, there would still be common law according to the Libertarian Party's manifesto as well. So if there is a common law, if there is a government which ensures protection of life, liberty, and property, etc., Khap panchayats are not going to fall under that category anyway. But any random criminal behavior, any random psycho or criminal thinking, okay, I'm not going to listen to the law, that guy doesn't become libertarian all of a sudden. Libertarianism is a idea, is a way for the state to look at citizens, which is why again that pointless waste of time argument against the Libertarian Party of India, that, oh, how can you say this, why should Indian citizens be libertarians, etc., that destroys family, etc. No, focus. We are talking about the state being libertarian. Same thing with individualism. The state has to look at the citizens as individuals. Okay. For some reason, people have no fucking clue between the difference between citizens, human beings, and the state. Like that debate I had with a very prominent right-wing intellectual on Twitter regarding the Ranveer Allahabadiya controversy. We were discussing how it's wrong for the police to go after Ranveer Allahabadiya, and she kept saying that no, he has had such terrible upbringing. No, how can you defend his jokes? What the fuck? That's why I had to say I think all Indian comics are unfunny. I'm not even defending his joke. What's his parenting got to do with him getting arrested? What the fuck? We are talking about the state, and the state. Okay, let's continue. Bureaucrats demand our data but hide their own. Yes. और हाइड नहीं करेंगे तो भोसरी के घर पे कैसे पैसे का बंडल खड़ा करेंगे. Our principle: the state owns nothing, hides nothing. Glass governance, every rupee traceable. Asymmetric transparency, full state openness, full citizen privacy. Our goal: make India the most transparent nation. I don't think that's a good idea. Because I don't want Pakistan and Bangladesh to find out everything about our government and their intentions. Where's my money app? Track your tax rupee. This is going to get to tricky territory. There has to be some kind of faith in a government. If the government has to exist, some of it has to be blind faith. Apparently, I think so, because I want some of my money to be used against enemy entities, and I don't want to know about it, because if I'm allowed to know about every penny of my tax that's spent in tackling enemies, then even the enemy can know how exactly is the impending doom for them, by what's even the timeline of their impending doom, etc. That's going to be a bit of a problem. M. Shastri, basic decency is for public morality and public places, not in a private comedy show. And even that's a arbitrary random thing. Right now I can say your comment also does that. It violates basic decency because you are so harsh against libertarianism. So subjective English literature kind of laws should not exist. Real-time public ledger, all spending that's more than 100 rupees visible via blockchain. Abolish black budgets. Oh my god. Without black budgets, can we really handle Pakistan or China and USA someday? All contracts open bid. It would be best to have some LPI guide defend these points. End RTI bureaucracy. All non-classified data auto-uploaded. Whistleblower rewards 20% of recovered funds. Lobbyist log. Decriminalize lobbying while mandatory real-time meeting tracker. Yeah, because lobbying happens anyway. Auto declassification. All confidential files public after 2 years, except national security issues. Fair enough. Transparency courts, jail for data suppression, 6-month trials. Bureaucrat dashboards, publicly rate officials, promotion based on reviews. This is nice. Citizens can subpoena bureaucrats' records, fire bottom 5%. Nice. Live assembly streams, uncensored broadcasts of all sessions. Meritocratic contracts over discretionary anointment. Nice. Bureaucratic reforms, end of Babudam. The problem: India's bureaucracy is a colonial relic turned ruling caste. Nice. Especially because they would use the word ruling caste, not class. Zero accountability. Just 0.03% of IAS officers fired since 1947. Policy paralysis. 1.4 crore files stalled. 85% reforms blocked. Generalist overreach. Arts grads overrule domain experts. Inspector Raj. 57,000 officials harass MSMEs for compliance, quote-unquote compliance. When unelected officers can jail citizens with a file note, democracy is dead. Our principle: governance is a competitive service, not a monopoly. Specialists are more important than generalists. Citizens are more important than cadre. Local control is more important than Delhi Raj. Our goal: dismantle the bureaucratic Raj. We will abolish IAS, IPS, IFS, All India services, privatize 80% of government functions, eliminate 90% of inspector posts, privatize governance, contract traffic, land records, education, automate compliance, blockchain plus third party audits replace inspectors, elect department heads, health, schools, transport, performance linked pay, nice, measured by public outcomes, 20% whistleblower bounty paid from recovery assets, nice, scrap perks, flat 10,000 rupees per month mobility allowance, 3 strike rule, 3 proven corruption cases is equal to permanent disqualification, nice, minimal governance, abolishing unnecessary acts and departments, abolish useless laws and departments, shrink the state. The problem: the Indian state is bloated and parasitic. India's economy is strangled by 50 plus ministries, 600 plus government departments, regulatory agencies, commissions, all of which are based on woke commie premises premises and I think lenses to look at society in the first place. 78 redundant ministries, for example, Ministry of Cooperation duplicates RBI. 3.2 million bureaucrats enforcing fake quote unquote public interest. Our principle: if it doesn't protect rights, abolish it. The state must justify departments based on protection of life, liberty, and property. Nice. All departments expire unless unvalidated. 1 in 10 out rule for any new state function. Liberty test: does this protect life, liberty, property? If not, abolish. Fair enough. I'm big on negative rights, absolutely opposed to positive rights. Our goal: erase 100% of unnecessary government departments and acts. We will abolish unnecessary ministries, eliminate 600 plus commissions, boards, regulatory agencies. Examples of abolitions: let's say from the Department of Cooperation. Why abolish it? Because it duplicates RBI and state roles. Alternative: free market credit unions. Ministry of Textiles. Why abolish it? Central planning for saris. Private fashion councils. Nice. Department of Publicity. Tax funded propaganda. Zero state ads. Ministry of Heavy Industries. 1.2 lakh crore PSU losses. Alternative: full privatization. Colonial leftovers. Telegraph Act of 1885. Police Act of 1861. Socialist relics. IDRA 1951. Essential Commodities Act. Quango reform. Censor board. Age-based viewer discretion. UGC. Decentralized accreditation. Pollution board. Let's move to tort law plus private auditors. Yes. Censor board, UGC, cool. Automatic expiry. All departments expire every 5 years. Nice. This is good. Job security kills everything. Deregulation. Regulation is suffocation. Papa Roach is listening. The problem: endless licenses, permits, and controls stifle innovation. Inspector Raj breeds corruption, kills jobs, and traps the poor. Yes, absolutely. Individual liberty and property rights are replaced by state permission. 1458, 1458 obsolete laws still enforced. For example, Telegraph Act of 1885. Our principle: presumption of liberty. Every person and business has the inherent right to create, trade, work, and innovate peacefully. The burden of proof is on the state to justify any restriction. Nice. Our goal: slash the regulatory jungle. We will single window, single visit, granting permissions, clearances, licenses, automatic approvals if no objections raised in 30 days. Abolish archaic laws across all sectors, all colonial obsolete laws. Enforce harm-based regulation only. Decentralize control to foster local competition. This, I think, should go hand in hand with Dikit Bhattacharya and Professor Gautam Desiraju's idea of 75 Indian states. I love that idea as well. Decriminalize victimless crimes. Business, in terms of business, scrap complex registrations, introduce true one-click closure. Labor, scrap labor codes, allow voluntary contracts. Hiring and firing rules for companies above 100 employees are simplified. Employees can form voluntary unions, but they cannot force or mandate. Can unions force or mandate right now? I don't know. What's the exact law? Because if unions do halla and you can't kick them out, of course, with labor laws not existing, they can kick people out with ease. That would work. Aman Lodha is saying you are doing good work. Here's a little from my side. Hope it helps. Aman Lodha, thank you very much. Every fucking penny matters right now for me. Every penny will be used to firstly quash my case and again bring down the metaphorical ton of bricks on my perpetrators. Thank you. Okay. Land. Abolish land use restrictions, FSI, FAR, simplify titling and permissions, land records on blockchain, no possibility of tampering on land records, simplify selling, buying, and leasing of land. M. Shastri saying unions can't mandate shutdowns anymore. Nice, nice. पहले mandate का power labor unions को था actually में. क्या क्या genius idea है लोगों का. See, this is why even though Veer Savarkar was in favor of state control of industry and factories, this is why I can't blame him all that much, because he had that idea that if the factories themselves are having a problem, then भोसड़ी के तुमको काम करना पड़ेगा, and you have to make sure the factory comes out safe and lives to tell the tale. It doesn't go down in history like the factories of West Bengal. लैंड हो गया. Agriculture, dismantle APMCs, price controls, crop trade limits. Absolutely on board. On the points that I'm not saying, that I'm explicitly not saying that I'm on board, doesn't mean I'm opposed to them. Okay, these are the points where I'm actually ending up saying they are just that much more exciting for me. That's why I'm saying that yes, on board. Technology, remove licensing for drones, fintech, etc. Allow permissionless innovation. Nice. Professions, deregulate law, medicine, transport, replace licenses with voluntary certification. चलो गाली खाने को रेडी हो जाओ. Sunset clauses, all rules expire unless rejustified every 5 years. Repeal two or more, two for every new regulation. Common law and tort, resolve disputes through contracts and property rights, not state diktats. Absolutely. Simplify IP laws. Simplify IP laws may, I don't know what's exactly Libertarian Party of India's stance on intellectual property, but they probably are opposed to copyright laws. Yeah, Nina, a lot of it is kind of vague. It would be best explained by a party spokesperson and then debated, defended with someone opposed to these ideas by a calm speaker who does not hate non-libertarians inherently. We can need that kind of people. Detaxation. Taxation is theft. Abolish taxation, empower people. The problem: India's tax regime is legalized theft. Taxpayers are overexploited while receiving zero benefits in exchange of their taxes. Not zero benefits. We have a police in theory. I guess some people do get caught for stealing and stuff, so it's not zero, but we get what they mean here. Income tax, GST, and endless levies punish productivity. IP law reforms that LPI is talking about was done in the previous term. Okay. Fuels corruption, traps millions in poverty, violates your right to the fruits of your labor. Our principle: ownership and consent. You own what you earn. Government must be funded voluntarily, not through coercion. Its only role: protect life, liberty, and property. If protection of life, liberty, and property is the job of the government, then it would require police. And if police are local decentralized bodies, etc., even private security firms and stuff, then I don't need to pay the government for protection of life, liberty, and property, because in that case, my life is being protected already. So life is out of the question anyway. Academic man, can you send a message in the private chat and let me know if you want to come on the podcast right now, or can you wait until I'm done with the document? Our goal: end all forced taxation, abolish income tax, personal. We will phase out is important, not one jhatka. GST, we will phase out GST, corporate excise, customs, property, wealth taxes. Taxpayers will not be answerable for unpaid taxes going back 2 years. Replace all taxes gradually with flat voluntary consumption fees. Taxpayers will be informed about how their tax money was spent. Again, here complete transparency might be a national security issue. I don't know. I think so. User fees for services, for example, courts. Voluntary infrastructure bonds issued as alternatives to coercive mandatory taxes. Voluntary trusts for defense, security, and infrastructure. Private charity and mutual aid to deliver education, healthcare, and relief. Let me see the private chat. What did he reply? Okay. Okay. Let's have academic man because he'll leave pretty soon. Hello.
Yep.
Right.
Am I audible?
Wait, I can't see on the screen for some reason. Wait, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Where is academic man? What's going on? Wait.
I'm-
Can you rejoin academic man? This is weird. Hello. Okay, he'll rejoin. Wait.
Yep.
Academic man not visible. Can you see yourself?
Nope. But apparently my voice is audible.
Yeah, voice is audible. But why can't I see you? Okay, continue. Then I'll keep finding out what's the problem.
Some new, something. Anyway. Uh, anyway. So what I find interesting is not the nitty-gritties as usual. I don't think we should always get into the nitty-gritties of this. Of course, you are, because you're doing the manifesto like we did for the Communist Party manifesto and the BJP manifesto and all that. But my view on the Libertarian Party, because it seems that some people are hell-bent on opposing them tooth and nail no matter what. I see this as an opportunity to address what really plagues the country, which people outside West Bengal cannot fathom. That is the complete failure of the bureaucratic machinery in addressing even basic concerns like roads, railways, traffic, this, that. Railway nahi, railway to fir bhi central ka under hai, but fir bhi whatever, any problem you take in the state of West Bengal right now, teacher SSC scam, 26,000 jobs gone, okay, no new investment or industry, law and order ka to ekdam whatever, you are living proof. If we take all of these basic factors that affect us every single day, last week a Jadavpur girl was found, her dead body was found in the university. So many other issues. Every day West Bengal has a new crime, new issue to talk about. This is where we see the complete failure of what we do when we give the government too much power. And I think of LPI more as a movement, really. Whether they will come to power anytime soon is not even the question. Whether their manifesto will appeal to every section or not, that is not the question. The question is whether through more rules and regulations have we converted one of the most prosperous states in the country into a hellhole? Yes. And that is where a greater move towards decentralizing governance, uncorrupting laws, uncorrupting the bureaucrats. That's where we will be able to see some change, if at all. Even when recently Prime Minister Modi reduced the GST rates, it came after the the disaster showing that we are having after the Pahalgaon issue, right? And now that his seats have been reduced to 240, some things, it seems that whenever there is trouble, this way out with lesser taxes, more privatization, more consumption, that move is something even the BJP seems to agree is a better option, right? So it's not like the LPI is destroying everything that the BJP or other parties hold sacred. Even they know somewhere that the way out of 80 years of horrible governance and government is through more privatization, more deregulation, more decentralization. It's even the government knows this. This is just an acknowledgement on our part as citizens that we too are aware of this. That's my view on this, basically.
Okay. M. Shastri is here, but I'm not going to take you on right now, M. Shastri, because we'll end up in a debate and we won't be able to go through the entire manifesto. Do you have something else to add, Academic Man? Otherwise, we'll just finish the document right now.
Yeah, you can finish. If I see any points, I'll join in or I'll get out. No problem. Anyway,
Okay.
it's not, my face is not visible.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I can't figure it out. Okay. Let's continue for now. Yeah. So voluntary trusts for defense security infrastructure, private charity and mutual aid to deliver education, healthcare relief. Government expenditure over expenditure leads to inflation. Yes. The problem, runaway spending fuels state control. All government expenditure is from taxation. Wasteful schemes, rising debt and inflation. High taxes punish citizens to fund bloated bureaucracy. Every extra rupee spent reduces your freedom. Government on a diet, our principle. Like any household, the state must live within its means. Spending must be limited to core rights protection only. All excess is economic theft and moral failure. Yes, we should not do that premature imitation of first world countries. Our goal, constitutional shackles on spending. We will cap government expenditure, no real-term increase in budget beyond inflation. Fiscal conservatism. Mandate balanced budgets, no bill with debt. Eliminate public debt, cut spending, sell PSUs, and end borrowing. Ensure full transparency. Real-time public access to every rupee spent. Empower citizens. Fast-track courts to challenge illegal spending. Empowered independent fiscal auditor with budget veto power. Privatization. State ownership is theft. Privatize everything, empower everyone. The problem. State-owned enterprises are economic deadweight. PSUs bleed public money, stifle innovation, and distort markets. Government has no right to compete with citizens using taxpayer funds and create monopoly. Our principle. No business in business. The private sector must deliver all goods and services. The state's only role. Protect rights and enforce contracts. The government has no business doing business. Our goal, zero government ownership in commerce. Privatize all PSUs, state banks, insurance firms, ports, airports, energy, mines, hotels, and commercial land. Liquidate assets via public transparent auctions. No crony deals, open to citizens, MSMEs, co-ops, and foreign investors. Open to citizens, MSMEs, co-ops, and foreign investors. To what degree? Empower workers. Offer shares ownership to employees, ESOPs or co-ops. Create independent privatization authority. Live stream all sales. Nice. Repeal monopoly laws and end state control in coal, minerals, etc. Economic policy. Free markets and free trade. Free markets is equal to human liberty in action. The problem. India's economy is shackled by 65,000 plus regulations. GST, labor, MSME. Crony bailouts for oligarchs, fines for street vendors, price controls, export bans, APMC monopolies. India's trade barriers punish the poor. Export bans crush farmers. 28% tariffs keep electronics unaffordable. 12,000 plus import rules strangle small traders. Tariffs protect monopolies, not consumers. When a chaiwala needs 12 permits to boil water, that's not governance, it's economic war. Our principle. Trade is a human right. Ancient India accounted for 32% of global GDP due to free trade. Your labor, property, and ideas are yours to trade. Free prices is more important than state diktats. Markets must be voluntary, open, and competitive. Your goods, your customers globally. Tariffs, licenses, and forex controls are coercion. Our goal: zero state barriers to exchange. We will abolish licenses, shops, factories, exports, imports, scrap price controls, no more state set limits, end monopolies, APMC, railways, and mining. Sector wise liberation, let's say labor repeal all labor codes, allow free contracts in agriculture, end APMC and ESS. Farmers sell anywhere. Retail MSMEs and delays. One farm startups, no registration. Trade, zero tariffs, no DGFT permissions. Money and property reforms, legalize private currencies, crypto, gold, community tokens. Deregulate banking, start banks with 10 lakh rupees. Absolute land titles, blockchain registry. End zoning, build farms, factories anywhere. Mine your own land. No state leases. Scrap subsidies, bailouts, and PLI schemes. Auto expiry for all unreviewed regulations, 2-year sunset. Sue regulators for damages from anti-market rules. Abolish all tariffs and customs duties. Scrap import-export bans and DGFT licenses. Legalize full rupee convertibility and forex freedom. Okay, more examples. Policy: 0% tariffs on all goods. The impact would be phones at 8,000 rupees, cars 40% cheaper. Abolish anti-dumping duties. That would lead to ending crony blockades, for example, steel import bans. Free rupee conversion, no FEMA, hold dollars, crypto, gold freely. Unilateral free trade, no retaliation required, consumers win. Mutual recognition is more important than red tape. Accept EU, US certifications, no BIS gatekeeping. I know, at least in terms of helmets, the ISI marked helmets are almost a sure shot that if you crash with those helmets, you will die. Whereas even the, I think, smuggled, imported, probably fake certifications of DOT, those helmets will save your lives. Auto-approve global products, iPhones, medicine, toys. Free trade zones in every district. Export hubs for farmers, artisans. Sell direct abroad. Monetary and banking reforms. Restore money to the people. The problem: a centralized banking cartel and fiat monetary monopoly robs citizens through inflation, debt traps, and bailouts. The RBI controls credit, manipulates interest rates, and prints currency with no public oversight. Private banks profit from public risk, while small savers and local lenders are crushed by regulation and red tape. New banks are not given licenses. Our principle: money as a free, honest, and competitive institution. Currency must store value, not lose it. Free flow of money, savings, and credit must serve citizens, not inflate bubbles. Interest rates must emerge from markets, not mandates. The central bank's role is as a lender of last resort. We strive to reduce role of RBI in financial system. Our goal: end monopoly, build a citizen-centric financial system. We will end RBI monopoly, allow competing private community-issued currencies backed by real assets, audit the central bank annual, citizen-led audit of RBI's balance sheet and policy, phase out legal tender laws, let citizens choose their medium of exchange, decentralized banking revolution, deregulate microbanks and panchayat-level lenders, end interest rate rigging, transition to free market discovery of interest rate, free cross-border money movement, remove capital controls. Free cross-border money movement would ideally, at least in today's non-libertarian situation, mean that terrorists here get paid by people who want India to not exist from outside. But in a situation where other things have been taken care of in a libertarian way, in a privatized way, there it might not be that big of a threat. Remove capital controls. For example, a libertarian government would not have to care about woke academia, etc., because there would not be any funding of woke academia in the first place. Decriminalize alternative currencies and local lenders. Crypto policy: digital property is equal to human right. The problem: India's crypto regime is digital oppression. 30% tax plus 1% TDS, world's harshest crypto penalty. Banking bans and legal fog choke innovation. CBDCs and UPI is equal to total surveillance. Yeah. Our principle, code is property. Your keys, your coins, protocols is equal to neutral infrastructure. Privacy is not crime. Our goal, make India the global crypto capital. Repeal all crypto-specific taxes, abolish licensing for exchanges or wallets, constitutionally ban CBDCs. तो फिर हमारा सनातन टेम्परेचर कैसे होगा एसी में? Scrap 30% tax plus 1% TDS. Impact would be crypto treated as currency, tax free. Legalize 115 BBH, no virtual asset label, code is equal to speech. Legalize ICOs and IEOs, startup funding without SEBI hurdles. No SEBI KYC for exchanges, FATF minimum only, privacy protected. Allow anonymous wallets, no PMLA for small transactions. Anti-CBDC shield. Ban programmable digital rupee, no state spyware. Mandate strong encryption, no backdoors for tax snooping. Zero regulation hubs in Bengaluru, Gurgaon. P2P energy trading via tokens, bypass state monopolies. Our commitment, day 1, repeal crypto taxes, nullify RBI's banking ban. Year 1, pass Digital Property Rights Act, ban CBDCs via constitutional amendment. End goal, 50% of world's blockchain startups in India. Gun laws. Let's see. This is where I'll be most on board with the Libertarian Party of India. Cheers. Japan reversed its decision to invade the USA in the Second World War because the USA had free gun laws. Yeah, just like when Russia invaded Ukraine, they distributed guns because at that point, when the ship is about to sink, you need everyone to learn and know how to swim, lol. Isoroku Yamamoto, Japanese general during the Second World War, you cannot invade the United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. In 1931, Karachi Congress resolution promised free gun laws. It was endorsed by Gandhiji to Rajaji to Nehru to Subhash Bose. Karachi Congress resolution of 1931 promised free gun laws. So did Hindu Mahasabha's draft constitution, as far as I remember. Right to keep and bear arms in accordance with regulations made in that behalf and such reservations as may be required for public safety. Free gun laws promote ahimsa, yes, because with guns you can prevent himsa, as it makes violence expensive due to the threat of self-defense. Yes. Threat is stronger than its execution. Yes. Gandhiji talked of truth and non-violence together. Violence is related to suppression of truth. Therefore, what's required is unconditional freedom of speech. Yes. Gandhiji said Arms Act was the blackest law passed by the British. Why does it still exist? INC 1921 Gandhiji. Now, my question to Gandhiji here would be, why couldn't you oppose the Arms Act, which was a black day, with your moral strength? The government must not be allowed to disarm us. It is our right to defend ourselves. If the state has the monopoly over violence, the people will be its victims. A disarmed nation is a helpless nation. Bearing arms is not the same as using them. Ahimsa is ahimsa of armed, independent people. If a crime is being committed, then it would be very foolish to do the crime with a legal weapon. That's because science of ballistics can associate the bullet with the gun from which it is fired from, and the perpetrators can be traced. If the criminal were not foolish, he would use an illegal weapon for a crime. Sovereignty shifts to the individual, the smallest minority, ultimate in decentralization. Adopt gun ownership model like Switzerland. Sector-wise reforms. Education policy, knowledge is not equal to propaganda. The problem, state-run indoctrination. 12.3 lakh crore wasted yearly. 57% of class 5 kids can't read class 2 books. NCRT rewrites history, erasing truths. I know who has... I can guess who has written this line in the in the LPI. I heavily disagree with the second line here, that NCRT is rewriting history only to erase truths. The truths that were erased are now being written. 128 approvals to open a school. Teachers jailed for quote-unquote unauthorized books. The state has no claim over a child's mind. Core principle, freedom to learn. Parents, not politicians, decide education. Schools compete, parents choose. No taxpayer-funded indoctrination. Nice. Policy toolkit. Abolish RTE, the right to education by Sonia Gandhi, and 25% quota mandate. End 25% quota mandate. Lesser fees, greater access. Education vouchers, 1 lakh per year per parent for any provider. Break government school monopoly. Nice. Curriculum freedom, no NCRT imposition, end indoctrination. Yeah. Go study where, if you want your kids to learn that Aurangzeb was the hero we needed, go study in that school, come out as a dumbass, and then get not hired ever. Our commitments. Day 1, scrap RT plus NEP 2020, launch 5 lakh crore education freedom fund, abolish UGC AICTE, delete seditious content clauses from education laws, 100% private community-led schooling. Skill gap will go down, 90% via free market learning. Healthcare policy, your body, your choice. The problem, state-run healthcare is deadly. 15 lakh crore wasted in 2023. 80% PHCs lack basics. 2,347 approvals to open a clinic. Unapproved doctors jailed. 2.3 million die annually from fake drugs, delays, and shortages. On top of which, there are fake doctors anyway who just paid someone to give them a license or whatever documents, etc. Core principle: medical freedom. Patients own their bodies, not bureaucrats. Competition, not cartels, cures. Policy framework would be optional MCI and NMC, private board certifications, 9 lakh plus new doctors by 2030. Health savings accounts, 2 lakh rupees per year tax free for any provider. Break government monopoly, deregulate pharma, legalize imports, remove price caps, drug prices go down by 90%. Yeah, this would mean that people who don't know all that much about health and pharma industries, as well as policy, etc., they would live unhealthy lives because of American pharma. People like us would be better off. Malpractice reform, direct lawsuits versus doctors. It would increase patient justice. Medical visa freedom, no approvals for foreign care, save 2 lakh plus lives per year. Structural reforms, privatize all government hospitals, doctor co-ops and charity chains, on board. Legalize experimental care with informed consent, on board. Recognize FDA EMA drugs, skip CDs SCO delays. Recognize FDA approvals. It's not like FDA has been able to help American citizens' health, so I'm not sure on this. End essential treatment lists, full patient choice. I see. Interesting. Market solutions, 1 rupee per day insurance, private plans for all, temple and NGO hospitals, local low-cost clinics, telehealth kiosks, AI plus nurse-led care in every village. Commitment. Day 1, scrap Ayushman Bharat plus Clinical Establishments Act, launch 10 lakh crore rupee health freedom fund replacing NHM. Abolish year 1, abolish CDSCO controls, legalize pharma imports, recognize foreign medical degrees. Foreign medical degrees might not be a problem, but foreign pharma would be a problem for people who don't keep themselves updated with American propaganda, of course. So it would be sad for a lot of people. End goal, 100% private charity healthcare, 95% TB malaria deaths via innovation. 95% reduction in TB malaria deaths, I guess, via innovation. Agriculture reforms, restore freedom to the farmer. The problem, Indian farmers are trapped in a system of state control, broken markets, and bureaucratic interference. Outdated laws like the APMC Acts, Land Sealing Acts, and Essential Commodities Act force farmers to sell at low prices, block private investment, and criminalize innovation. 30 to 40% of food is wasted due to restrictions on private cold storage and logistics. Yes. Farmers are banned from exporting freely, yet burdened with unpredictable taxes, bans, and permits. Meanwhile, input subsidies are captured by middlemen, not farmers. Agriculture remains poor not because farmers are weak, but because the state won't let them be free. 100%. Our principle, farming as a free, profitable, and global enterprise. Farmers must have full ownership, control, and flexibility over their land. Markets must be competitive, not monopolized by state-run mandis. Storage and movement must be liberalized, not criminalized. Subsidies must empower the farmer, not enrich intermediaries. Agriculture must serve global consumers, not political rent seekers. Our goal, end central planning, empower the producer. We will abolish the APMC monopoly, legalize direct sales, private mandis, and e-commerce partnerships. Remove land ceiling laws. Let farmers own, lease, and consolidate land without caps or approvals. Because approval simply means bribing someone. Deregulate cold storage and logistics. End licensing Raj and Essential Commodities Act restrictions for perishables. Replace subsidies with vouchers. Introduce digital agri vouchers for seeds, fertilizers, and water, redeemable with any vendor, ensuring farmer choice and accountability. Free global trade for farmers. Abolish export bans, quotas, and arbitrary duties. Enable farm to global consumer platforms. Legalize contract farming fully. Allow voluntary contracts protected by civil courts, not threatened by state interference. Free land use for farmers. Allow use of agricultural land for solar, agro-processing, ecotourism, or allied rural enterprise. Enable agri-fintech and microloans. Let startups serve farmers with finance, insurance, and supply chain tools without oppressive licensing. Open markets, not warehouses. Promote real-time pricing platforms for produce discovery and settlement. Yes. Decentralize food security. Let local cooperatives and private players manage buffer stocks, not corrupt FCI warehouses. Our commitment. We will repeal APMC acts in every state, abolish land ceiling acts, and allow free rural land leasing. Can APMC acts be abolished in every state if their goal would be more federalized in a truly federal structure and decentralization, etc.? Scrap the Essential Commodities Act for all non-military food items. Launch the National Agri Voucher Scheme by linking it to Aadhaar, but redeemable only by farmers. Ban all future agricultural export bans or quotas by law. Create 10,000 private agriculture markets and allow all online agri-trade platforms. Decriminalize all storage, movement, and contract farming activities. Open agriculture to domestic and foreign investment with full land use rights. Replace FCI procurement monopoly with local food security markets. Allow full access to global platforms and trade finance for every Indian farmer. Welfare reforms. Restore dignity to the people. The problem. The Indian welfare state is bloated, inefficient, and dehumanizing. Crores are spent on poorly targeted subsidies, ration shops, and schemes that breed corruption and dependency. Government-run programs like PDS, NREGA, and midday meals leak up to 40% before reaching beneficiaries. Welfare becomes a vote bank trap, not a ladder out of poverty. Beneficiaries are treated as subjects of the state, standing in lines begging for ration, denied dignity. Not to mention bribing and begging at the feet of local party office gundas. The true poor are often excluded, while the politically connected harvest the spoils. This is not even often. This is almost 100% of the case, almost all the time, at least in West Bengal. Our principle. Welfare must be voluntary, targeted, and empowering. Support must reach the person, not pass through layers of middlemen. Welfare must uplift, not trap people in permanent dependency. Assistance must be transparent, optional, and dignified, not mandatory and demeaning. Now, this line is beautiful. Welfare must uplift, not trap people in permanent dependency. How to do that? Give them some money for some specific problem or to solve one specific problem in their lives. Not stuff like 100 days work and 200 days work, etc. Like the West Bengal government shamelessly criticizing Modi for not giving them the due salaries that they were supposed to pay to the people getting the 100 days job and stuff. How can people not feel any shame at all? Ideally, their thoughts must have been, oh my God, why do people need 100 days job in my state in the first place? Why haven't I created that many job opportunities? Instead, they are proudly begging in front of Narendra Modi. Yeah, another argument can be made that our taxes are paid into this, etc. Yeah, fair enough. But I'm talking about the models here. Assistance must be transparent, optional, and dignified, not mandatory and demeaning. Now, Tatvik is bringing in West Bengal in every argument, and I was told by Manuvadi Komi to quote unquote "Har baat pe West Bengal mat ghusao," because he doesn't want to know the facts and outcomes of socialism in all its glory. Every state that you can think of while defending socialism and saying that no, West Bengal is an aberration, That's not what happens when you do socialism. You see all these other beautiful states. That's what happens when socialism happens. Not really. West Bengal is what socialism always dreamt of, and all the other states are not that way because they are doing less of what West Bengal is doing. So directionally speaking, vibe wise, we need to follow all these policies as much as possible. The opposite of it will lead you to West Bengal someday or the other. If it doesn't, it will be because some of these kinds of laws entered your state, not the opposites. Civil society must be allowed to serve without licenses or suspicion. Our goal, from state handouts to citizen empowerment, we will replace subsidies with vouchers, introduce digital food and utility vouchers, redeemable at any shop, grocer, or provider, public or private, portable welfare, link all aid to individual Aadhaar or family ID so that migrants and urban poor are not excluded. No more ration shops, phase out government run PDS outlets, and allow private competition in serving welfare voucher holders. NGO and private delivery partnerships encourage civil society, religious groups, and private charities to deliver services funded by voucher redemption, not licenses or grants. Cash for work instead of NREGA bureaucracy. Replace centralized job schemes with local voluntary employment hubs and mobile job matching apps with real time cash payments. Community safety nets. Enable cooperative welfare funds, micro mutuals, and self help insurance schemes to replace state dependency. Decentralized disability and elderly support. Replace pensions with preloaded monthly care vouchers, usable across care homes, health providers, or trusted local volunteers. School choice for all. Redirect education spending to parents via school vouchers, allowing poor children to attend any private school. Digitize and decentralize. Every rupee of assistance tracked, publicly disclosed, and auditable by citizens, not just politicians. Our commitment: we will abolish the PDS system and replace it with universal digital food vouchers, shut down NREGA bureaucracy, and redirect funds to local skill-based voucher employment. Enable school voucher programs in every state by 2026. Authorize NGO and society-run voucher delivery. No more government monopoly. Replace LPG, power, and water subsidies with direct choice-based utility vouchers. Launch a voucher freedom app where every citizen sees, spends, and tracks their support. Cap state welfare spending at 5% of GDP with a plan to reduce it each year. Decriminalize private charity. Abolish all licensing for NGOs, temples, gurudwaras, and private welfare institutions. Abolish all licensing for NGOs. Again, okay. Complete conversion then, unless it's fought by temple freedom. End political control over welfare. Make voucher administration independent and citizen auditable. Promote a culture of self-reliance, dignity, and voluntary compassion, replacing the vote bank mindset with true human empowerment. Yes, and skin in the game. Unemployment reforms. Restore work to the nation. The problem: India faces a youth unemployment crisis. Degrees don't lead to jobs, and government schemes don't create real opportunity. Over 50 crore Indians are underemployed or unemployed, especially youth, women, and informal workers. Red tape throttles entrepreneurship. Licensing permits, harassment by inspectors, and labor rigidity prevent small businesses from growing or hiring. Meanwhile, the state spends crores on inefficient programs like NREGA, skill schemes, and job fairs with little to no impact on long term livelihoods. Yes, citizens want to work, but the state won't let them. Our principle: work must be free, flexible, and rewarding. Every citizen must have the freedom to earn, hire, or produce without state permission. Skill must be shaped by markets, not bureaucrats. Jobs are created by free enterprise, not by government guarantees. Yes. Employment must be local, voluntary, and dignified, not centrally dictated or politically rationed. Our goal: unleash India's 50 crore workforce. Decentralized job creation. Abolish license raj for small work. Scrap all local and state licenses for street vending, gig work, shops, home industries, and hawking. Create 5,000 government free zones, areas with no startup red tape, zero permits, and tax exemption for new micro businesses. Legalize and protect gig workers and informal entrepreneurs. Formally, recognize them as self employed producers with legal contracts, not welfare forms. Portable labor laws. Let workers carry their social security ID, benefits, and credentials across states, cities, or job types. Fixing the skill gap. Apprenticeship revolution. Legalize and promote paid apprenticeships. Remove all legal barriers that restrict employers from hiring and paying apprentices freely. Work while you learn. Allow youth to gain real world skills on the job instead of memorizing textbooks for years. No permission needed. Enable any skilled person or businesses from master carpenters to software firms to train apprentices. Mutual benefit. Employers get loyal learners and youth gets hands-on employable skills. Fast inclusive upskilling. Within 3 to 12 months, youth with no prior skills can become work ready and income earning. Boost self-employment and informal sector. One-page enterprise registration. Replace MSME, GST, FSSI, FSSAI, Shop Act with a single digital work ID for micro enterprise. Tax-free earnings up to first 5 years for first-time entrepreneurs. Local entrepreneurship hubs. Free shared toolkits, co-working spaces, skill workshops, and mentors in every taluka. Home-based business legalization. Allow citizens to run kitchen businesses, tailoring, workshops, and rentals with no harassment. Freedom to trade and lease. Abolish all interstate permit systems, mandi taxes, and local transport harassment. Remove barriers to hiring. Labor code simplification. Free small firms which have less than 100 workers from rigid compliance. Digital contract registry. Enable safe, flexible contracting via e-signature and WhatsApp verifiable terms. Eliminate Inspector Raj. Replace surprise visits with grievance-led audits only. And legalize compliance by self-certification. Our commitment. We will repeal all local state licenses for street and home-based work, end NREGA, decriminalize informal employment and scrap local harassment laws, recognize gig workers as micro-entrepreneurs, not liabilities, digitize all job contracts and skill records via citizen-controlled wallets, legalize apprenticeships of all kinds, including informal and family-based training, make freedom to work a constitutional right, unleash India's most powerful asset, its people. Energy policy, power to the people. There are no low energy rich countries, only low energy poor and high energy rich ones. The problem: India's energy sector is strangled by PSU monopolies, criminalizing 1.8 lakh crore per year in subsidies and enforcing archaic controls. Coal India's mafia monopoly blocks competition. Refinery licensing cartels inflate fuel prices by 40%. Discom bailouts drain 12 lakh crore annually. Renewable bottlenecks. 30 GW stuck in clearances. Throttle growth. India remains at 425 GW capacity versus China's 2,400 GW and USA's 1,200 GW. Our principle: energy abundance through free markets. Break all monopolies, open drilling mining to private players, deregulate generation, zero licensing for power projects, direct cash transfers, replace price controls, consumer-driven innovation, bureaucratic planning. Consumer-driven innovation is better than bureaucratic planning. Our goal: overtake China and the USA by within 20 years. 6,000 GW capacity, that's the target. Abolish the state stranglehold. Privatize ONGC, IOCL, and Coal India via employee retail token buyouts. Scrap administered pricing mechanism, APM for fuels. End all subsidies, replace with direct energy cash, 1,000 rupees per month per household. Deregulate completely. Automatic approval for all energy projects within 30 days. Zero environmental clearances for brownfield expansions. Open 100% of coal, oil blocks to private mining and drilling. Legalize private uranium mining. Infrastructure tokens for crowd-funded power plants. Tax-free zones for renewables, hydrogen, nuclear. Hypermodule nuclear, approve 50 SMRs, small modular reactors, AI managed grids. Dynamic pricing to eliminate wastage. Microgrid DAOs, create 100,000 township level operator collectives. Our commitment: pass the Energy Titan Act within 100 days. Sunset all energy permits, automatic approval if no objection in 48 hours. Legalize private uranium thorium mining. Launch Project Vajra, 5 gigawatt per month nuclear rollout via SMR factories. 10 lakh crore rupees in private investment via infrastructure tokens. Build Gujarat Energy Corridor, 100 gigawatt solar wind nuclear cluster. Create national grid 2.0, AI optimized transmission, losses down to 3% versus 22% today. And all the socialists who keep talking about Libertarian Party of India's um, vibes and how they are inherently or secretly anti-India and want to sell the country off to USA, etc. Why would they want a powerful, rich, and prosperous, powerful in terms of literal power, energy, even? What kind of India haters want such an India? All these years, the people who actually hated India, people who you probably up until a few days back, and definitely your parents' generation, and definitely your grandfather's generations, worshipped, licked their feet. They were the ones who actually hated India, and we never realized. They were the ones who actually kept India poor, fucking vulnerable, and impoverished. And the people who want the exact opposite of that are same as them, just because they don't wear a tika and tilak. Create national grid 2.0, AI optimized transmission, losses down to 3% versus 22% today. Abolish discoms, replace with 10,000 competing microgrid DAOs. Sports policy. Competition fuels greatness. The problem: India's sports ecosystem is suffocated by bureaucratic parasitism, political selection, and stagnant taxpayer funding. 85% of sports budgets feed administrators. Talent rots in red tape. Yeah, because in the end, no matter what medal they win, they have to go sell vegetables 20 years later. Youth potential is wasted in state-run development schemes that prioritize compliance over excellence. Our principle: excellence through voluntary exchange, not state extraction. Private investment is better than taxpayer funding. Meritocratic rewards replace quotas. Yes. Athlete ownership of their value chain. Competition is the only coach. More power to the athletes. Our goal: replace bureaucracy with athlete-owned markets. Abolish state interference. Privatize all sports federations. Convert to athlete-owned trusts. I like this. Auction 100% of public stadiums to private clubs. Repeal the Sports Authority of India Act. Create performance of capital markets. I'm in favor of the taxpayers not subsidizing sports that nobody in their right minds watch. Greatness funds. Voluntary athlete endorsed funds, for example, Neeraj Chopra Gold Fund. Citizens invest directly, profits fund training and prizes. Dynamic prize leagues, 500 crore rupees per year private prize pool for consistent performers. Quarterly rankings determine payouts. For example, top 100 shooters split 50 crore rupees. NFT performance stakes. Athletes sell 10% of future earnings as NFTs to fund training traded on the Bharat Sports Exchange. Nice. Survival of the fittest arenas. Private stadiums host weekly elimination tournaments. Winner takes all prize pots. For example, 1 crore per week for boxing. Youth meritocracy grids. Corporate sponsored talent pyramids. For example, Reliance football pyramid. Top 1% advance to paid apprenticeships and global training opportunities. I think on the sports side, I'm most on board with them so far. Our commitment. Pass the Khel Mahakumbh Act within 100 days. Abolish all sports ministries. Grant tax exemptions to private prize pools. Launch elite performance funds. 10,000 crore rupees seed capital from private sector. Citizen micro investments via app, minimum 100 rupees. Build 10 gladiator arenas, private combat sports hubs with 1 crore rupees per week winner prizes. Create youth merit grids, corporate run talent pyramids. For example, Adani wrestling grid. Top 0.1% earn sports sponsorships and global training. Deregulate betting. Abso-fucking-lutely. Prediction markets to fund 50% of regional tournaments. Yes. Market-driven alternatives in action. Stadium revolution. Mumbai Coastal Arena. Private island complex hosting 20 sports funded by Tata/Adani. Revenue model. Luxury boxes 40%, streaming 30%, events 30%, zero taxes. Talent monetization. 15-year-old judo champion sells 10% career NFT to fund training. Investor profits if she wins medals. Corporate bonds fund Punjabi Kabaddi League. Sports sponsors get branding plus profit share. Adventure entrepreneurship. Private Everest base camp. 50 lakh rupees expedition fee funds local Sherpa scholarships. Goa surf schools. Paid lessons fund lifeguard AI drones. Slum sports revolution. Local football leagues. Streaming rights sold to Jio Cinema, 200 crore rupees per year. 50% revenue to players, 50% to field maintenance. Wait. Are we done? Oh, we are done. I fucking love their sports policy. Now, anybody who wants to come online and defend this manifesto that we just went through, or या फिर गाली भी देना है तो आ जाओ. I just have no idea how I will show your face today. I'm not sure what's going on. By the time, let me check some comments. Neon is saying, Dada, for even a fraction of this to be implemented, LPI needs to have a massive ecosystem on par with RSS inside the country. To even first come to power, they need a ecosystem like that. Okay, even before coming to power, because otherwise, who's even going to convince people about these things? Kushal supports the idea of capitalist wealth creation plus society, social safety net, and targeted welfare. Oh, Mushin is here. And targeted welfare schemes as a pressure valve to prevent anarchy in a third world country like India. But he also supports reservations, so who knows? Let's see. Hi, Mushin. Go ahead.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, I have a few things that I love very much about this LPI manifesto, and there are a few things that I do not understand. I don't hate them, but I don't understand how
Right.
they are going to be implemented actually.
Hmm.
The first things first, let me talk about actually you are freezing away in the screen.
Okay. Wait. Yeah, I'm freezing away because of my internet, but I have no idea why the guests are not visible on the screen. Does anybody have any clue what's going on with StreamYard?
No, I
They
think you
did
have to
some
restart the
update.
stream if you want it to fix. I think it's going to be a
Okay.
waste anyway. So let's not do that.
I see. Wait, let me just refresh my window, okay? In Google Chrome, let's
Okay.
see what happens.
Hello? Looks like I'm the only one here right now.
Yeah, no difference. Okay, then go ahead.
Yeah, now at least I can see your face clearly.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, what are you
okay.
in agreement with, and what are you in disagreement with?
Agreements with first things first, I think the very concept of this of less government and more liberty to the people is a very good concept. I think first and foremost, it should be applied in public infrastructure, at least I believe. Public infrastructure, if it is regulated by the people of that very region where the infrastructure is happening, then I think it's going to be a big win for all of us. I will give a small example and a personal example. I will give that potholes and bumpers. These bumpers are such a great thing that if I start talking about them, I will start swearing like a sailor. So let's
Yeah,
not go
yeah,
into that.
yeah,
I hate bumpers. I hate bumpers to my own fucking guts. I can't tell you that how much I hate bumpers. You know,
yeah.
one freeway they are putting bumpers every 100 meters. I don't know what kind of research they have that bumpers reduce accident. I don't think they do. They don't reduce
Hmm.
accidents whatsoever. In fact, apart from this, I think who came up with this idea that bumpers reduce accident or bumpers do something?
Well, common sense would suggest, at least some kind of common sense that, well, people are supposed to slow down, so let's have bumpers. And now the heights of bumpers, they are debatable. A lot of people who are rash driving, who actually don't care for their lives, maybe they are not going to slow down for a bumper anyway. But the recent insanity that I'm seeing from Kolkata traffic police is that random barricades in the middle of the fucking road every now and then. You are trailing behind a car. All of a sudden, you see one car almost ramming you from this side. We don't know why. Oh, then we see, oh, a random barricade was actually holding up his way, or the car in front suddenly shifts, and you see, oh, there's a barricade in front of you. So you build great roads, then create your own distortions because you have to manage traffic. That's the kind of thinking that needs to go away from India in the first place. Yeah, go ahead, Mushin.
Yes, yes. Public infrastructure that I mentioned about that, I think more and more localized approach in this, I think it's going to help. And moreover, about the rate tapeism that we can see in the innovation sector and more or less in the business sector of India, I think the more less Babu you're going to have, Babu influence in this thing, the better I think it is going to be managed. The regulation in India, as Sanjeev Sanil also talks about this, everywhere he goes, that he has his hair whitened just because he is working on the regulations, with how difficult it is and how much fine print that he has to go through every single day. So I think removing those things out of the picture, I think it's going to help a lot of Indians in prospering in places that they dream of, at least in at least cities, so to speak. I think people who can only dream of starting a business can do that just with a few emails and phone calls instead of going to the court and going to the babu and scorching, completely destroying their health under scorching sun for 3 to 10 months just because they don't have the proper paperwork for the business they want to open. That thing I truly appreciate. Something that the clause 3, I have the PDF open in my phone right now with me. The clause 3, minimal government and minimal governance, abolishing unnecessary acts and departments that are 200-year-old laws are still in the Indian judicial systems. Basically, the Indian judicial system needs to be reformed, and as I talk about the cases having a 180-day retention period, and before that you have to give the verdict and close the case. I think that is a very good touch. And if you can fix the judiciary itself, just by fixing the judiciary, you can solve a lot of issues in India. That's my opinion. So less government, less governance, and the judicial reforms, I'm completely on board with it. And the abolition of IAS, I think a lot of people in the comment section might not agree with it, but I think IAS is a very much a generalized examination that needs to be scrapped completely, because the government, as Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Kushan Mehra also talks about this in their podcast, that we need specialists, not generalists, in our government. Because one ministry has nothing to do with another ministry. How can you have a person who has done IAS, who has suppose someone from a history background who has passed IAS and became the bureaucrat in the tech sector or the technology ministry or something that has to do with generic infrastructure of information and networks and websites and whatever web development issues in the government. How will know what is to do, what is wrong, and what is right? At the end of the day, you have to hire temporary workers in the IT field only, just to work under you, when you have absolutely no idea how to go through with these things that you have not studied. So I think recruitment should be done on generalized, not on generalized basis, but through proper technical interviews and workshops that are done in most private firms now. So that part, I think, very good that they talk about destroying the.
But
I mean, not destroying the.
To be fair to pro Babu people, in the end, the exact job profile of the Babu is not to know the subject inside out. It's kind of to administer. So administration is a different skill set in the end. And it's not necessary that just because, let's say, MS Dhoni is a great cricketer, he will run BCCI really great. So how to bridge those worlds according to you? The skill set of the domain as well as administering in the first place. So firstly, there should not be anyone to administer. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it's a false comparison, because yes, cricketing and administration management are two different things. But even in order to manage, for example, public defense ministry or any other high profile and secrecy issues that has absolute understanding and technical knowledge in the field necessary for them to function even on day-to-day basis. I think one argument should be that as Babus are generalists, they can learn in their process because they are young, because they enter into the workforce at a very young age, at 21, 22 or 25 years old. They can learn in the process and become better with each and every term. But my problem is that these are, for example, when you become a IAS, you do not get any ministry right away. You get a post that is of a very low rank, and you work your way up. So my opinion should be that yes, that should be the case, but at least you should have some sort of domain knowledge in the thing in the first place, so that you can understand the nitty-gritties of the system in the beginning, and then as years pass by, you can move on, transition onto management part completely, as it is done with the military.
Okay.
You see, in the military, this doesn't happen. Our military, when a commissioned officer has to enter from the lieutenant rank and has to see combat duty in the field, has to work and do all the menial jobs in the military. After that, slowly, as his rank increases, he becomes a captain, a major, a brigadier general, a major general, and through that, the combat duty becomes less, and the management duty becomes more. But in case of Babus, I don't see that.
Slavin's comment is actually very true here, but it does not really apply to Babu's for a different reason. He's saying generalists tend to see the big picture as they are outsiders, whereas specialists get bogged down in details. But the way their jobs are set up, the amount of power, authority they are given, the kind of job security they have, so therefore they don't even use that one possible benefit of having generalists to actual good use, because in the end you have corruption. So it's not even whether a Babu can do their job or not. It's being bypassed by corruption, and that corruption is not going to go away unless their powers decrease and their safety
Yes,
decrease. Job
absolutely.
safety decreases.
Yes.
So Mushin, yeah, go ahead if you have any more
Yes.
agreements, or we
Yes.
will then
A few
discuss the
agreements I have
disagreements.
about the gun laws. Gun law, I think I'm
Okay.
completely on board with it. We need guns. We need more guns. We need to be armed to the teeth.
Hmm.
I'm saying this. It might sound controversial, but
Hmm.
I think more than America, India needs the amendment to Second Amendment.
Then
That's my
where's the
observation.
disagreement then?
My disagreement is that you know, actually the problem is that my disagreement also branches from this part only. If I were to describe this entire LPI manifesto in one word, I think it should be called an Ouroboros. You know what an Ouroboros is?
No.
A snake that eats its own tail.
Okay.
A snake that eats its own tail is a Celtic imagery for infinity. Means something that cycles with its own self. Because the LPI makes this manifesto, it sounds extremely good on paper. I think it's going to be very good if we implement some of it, but I don't know where they are going to start with it. If it comes to protection,
Now, what's your
because
disagreement with the gun law then?
let me tell you why. In case
Okay.
of gun laws, for example, if you implement the gun laws for the first 10 years, you're going to see that gun violence increases by 1,000 fold or 10,000 fold in India. I'm
I don't
absolutely
think
certain
so.
about this. I think so
No.
because, for example, if we take all the libertarian dictums into question, then new gun industry is going to come up. Gun makers will make cheaper and cheaper guns. Gun
Yeah.
industry is going to like smartphone industry. Ammunition is
Yeah.
going to come for cheap. For example, I think some gun companies might give monthly subscriptions for ammunition packages, like 500 rounds of
Yeah. Yeah.
bullet
Of course.
in
Those two will
for
happen. Yeah. Yeah.
100 rupees or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when
No, but
everyone gets free,
how does the increase in production of guns and ammunition lead to the increase in gun deaths or
because
murders in general?
it's my opinion that there are people will engage in gunfights more often than they do today
Who
because
are
of
those
course there is
people?
no gun thing.
Who are those
Criminals,
people?
obviously.
You and me, or
Young
criminals?
criminals, obviously.
And they don't have guns right now.
But they have guns. The guns are not of great quality, and the guns are less. You need to. Do you agree on that or not?
Who? No. If
Why
they
not?
actually want to kill, they can borrow a gun. Right now, which Trinamool Gunda does not have an access to a gun? Do you think they need to really pay with their own money, save up for years, and then buy a 2 lakh rupee 9mm legally from the Ordnance Factory website?
Okay, I see where you're going with this point, but
Yeah,
at
but
least
I will have easy access to a gun, and they can't fuck with me.
yes, I think. What if they do anyway?
They
What
come
if
to shoot
you
me, I
have?
shoot them back.
Yes, you come to shoot them. You shoot them and both die in that process.
No, or he doesn't, because he has some brains, even if he does Trinamool.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. At least one portion. If let's
Who?
say it happens 50-50 of the time. For instance, 50% of the time when a sane person, a normal person pulls out his gun and a criminal is there to face him, the criminal walks off because he cares for his life. And the normal
Yeah,
person walks back safe and secure.
yeah, yeah.
But on the other hand, the criminal is a psychotic person and doesn't care about his life or the man's life, and they
What
both.
percent of Trinamool's gundas are psychotic, according to you? Medically declared psychotics only will be behaving in the way you are expecting them to behave. Just because guns are cheaper right now doesn't mean he is ready to become a martyr for his cause.
Okay, sure.
The truly medically psychotic person will do that. He will think, fuck this, I just want to kill him. If it doesn't matter if I die. They will. That percentage is not very high. And they can attack you with a machete anyway, or knife, even if
Yeah,
completely
yes, I think
in the country. Yeah. So what other disagreements do you have with the manifesto?
Yes, apart from the gun laws, I think my prime
Okay.
disagreement would be that even if we can take this libertarian manifesto in its face in the prima facie, in order to establish it, a lot of prerequisite constraints need to be set. For example,
Okay.
the education sector, I don't agree with a few things that the
Okay.
abolition of RTI. What do you think RT? RT. What do you think about that?
RT. I like it. It gives a lot of it first of all brings down the cost of education to a large extent. More schools, more options, more kinds of schools. So I'm absolutely on board with abolishing RTE. Has anything good come out of
Because
RTE? RTE is just 20 years old, right? Or 15 years old, 20 years old. What good things have come out because of RTE?
at least the literacy rate in India is increased. You would
That
agree with
literacy,
that?
you know what that means. Signing your name to get a ration card or some fucking freebie.
Well, in that context, if you think about it, literacy rate would have increased anyway without RTE also. Now that I think
Absolutely.
about it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that one part of the problem is that suppose you give complete liberty to parents to educate their children in any way possible. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, if the way demographic shift is happening in India, for instance,
Yeah.
a large chunk of the people who are in this country would love to educate their children in one. No. Now that I think about it, won't happen. I was going with the with desert homies educating the children in the holy book, and but that won't happen
Yeah.
because they won't be hired for their lives if that happens.
Yes. And it's not going to be government subsidized like it's right now.
That's right. So in one way, it's going
Good
to become
job. Yes.
extinct in one.
This is what critical thinking is. This is what critical thinking looks like in real time.
And another gripe I have with it is that a lot of these constituents, I mean, the manifesto bases itself on people's
Hmm.
goodwill to elect their own things, to know that what is good for them in one way or the other. For
Right.
example, appointing your own sheriff
Yeah.
in your own locality, appointing
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
infrastructure officer,
There I agree
appointing
with you.
that happens
Their
with them.
libertarianism in general has a problem because
Yes.
I think AI can map out a lot of things, and predict a lot of things. Because right
I
now,
think you are
uh,
more relying on AI. I think Shayagda will also agree with me on this, Shayag Paul.
hmm,
But
okay, yeah,
AI at this point is not on that great of a
right,
decision maker that
fair enough.
it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
going to help that happen.
yeah.
In the long future, I think.
Because
I'm talking about a 50-year time scale. It won't happen.
right, right.
It won't happen 50 years also.
I
So
see.
in that, I think,
Uh, but some kind of prediction and modeling would be required to judge these things, because in a libertarian society you'd have to be so well informed on so many things which people aren't right now, and therefore we are spilling and, let's say, leaking a lot of our money and having bad lives anyway. But even in a libertarian situation, you'd have to be well informed on so many fucking subjects, and
yes,
actually take almost daily decisions on so many things, because there's no government doing it. Because you'll see, even in the manifesto, or even when libertarians speak in general, you'll find that for so many problems they say the person themselves will do it, or hire somebody to do it. So then your daily schedule is not going to look like what they gave the picture of in the beginning of the manifesto. There's not going to be any friendly discussions with the family, then job, then hang out and chill at home. There's going to be one decision after the other all day long, not much hanging out, I think. Unless you have subscription models to different private companies for all your outsourcing, all your thinking
one
outsourcing.
thing,
Even
one thing
solutions
I
can
might
come
add
up, when actual freedom is given, and actually new problems come up, new solutions also come up. So there again,
what
I
if
would be a little. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
let me play LPI's advocate here. What if
Yeah,
you outsource the decision making on major sectors to the subject specific specialists? For
exactly.
example, someone opens a licensed firm who can
True.
solicit your community's decision making on a certain subject. What if that
Hmm.
happens?
Yeah,
That is
that is what will probably happen.
that is one thing that I have thought about. And apart from that, I have not many disagreements with it. One thing, another thing is that too much openness in the sectors where the government needs to intervene, because you can't completely open source or make the defense spending of a government completely known to everyone else. That is
Yeah,
a information security risk.
yeah,
This kind of
I agree.
I think just like we have the right to privacy, I think the government or the bodies or communities also should have the right to privacy in these matters.
Yeah, to some
And
degree, though, definitely.
apart from that, military, if the government has the duty to protect ourselves, protect life, protect monument, protect structure. How do they not function without a military? And for military, you need taxation to maintain
Hmm.
a militia. Just like we
Yeah,
have,
which is why again, to be fair to LPI, they are not saying therefore let's do ancapism. They are saying that we need
yeah,
some taxes and some government to protect life, liberty, and property. So they are not opposed to having having a standing army, I think.
yes. I think that's it on this. I don't think anything else I have to add. So that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It was a great discussion.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mushin. See you later.
Yes.
Next, we have someone called Madhu Shamrajyobadi. Hello, Madhu.
नमस्कार दादा.
Oh, acha. Yes, namaskar. Go ahead.
ওটা মারদু নয়, ওটা মারু. सो
I see.
मैं कह रहा था कि uh, एक तो आपने वो खाप पंचायत को लेकर मेरी बात पर
हाँ.
बोला, तो मैं यही कह रहा था कि प्राचीन काल में जो खाप पंचायत था, क्या वो लिबर्टेरियन था या नहीं था. मैं आज के समय में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, क्योंकि आज का खाप पंचायत तो सरकार द्वारा संचालित है.
हाँ, प्राचीन काल का तो लिबर्टेरियन ही था. हमने तो कितनी बार वो डेविड फ्रीडमैन के बुक में जब पढ़ा है कि उनका आइडियल सोसाइटी क्या है, वो पढ़ के बार बार लगता है कि अरे ये तो एंशिएंट इंडिया का डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया जा रहा है. ऑलमोस्ट एंशिएंट इंडिया वाज वेरी डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड, वेरी लिबर्टेरियन.
Yeah. और जैसे अभी आपके अतिथि मुशीन ने आके जो बातें की, जैसे राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा का विषय जब आता है तो आप उसमें पूरे लिबर्टेरियन नहीं हो सकते, और भी बहुत सारे विषय हैं. और राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा आज के समय में केवल सीमा पर युद्ध लड़ने की बात नहीं है. आपका जो डेटा है वो किसी और को ना जाए. आपके सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स अपने भारतीय होने चाहिए. तो आप दूसरों को कितना अपने देश में अधिकार देंगे, विदेशी मंचों को उस पर एक सहमति बननी चाहिए. मुझे नहीं पता कि लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी की क्या सोच है. और मैं आगे एक प्रश्न करूंगा, पर मेरे ओर से कुछ बात है कि एक तो लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी को थोड़ा भारतीय भाषाओं में प्रचार करना आरंभ करना चाहिए. दूसरा है कि ये जो हिंदू संस्कृति को लेकर थोड़ा सा उनका सोशल पर्सपेक्टिव जो लिबरल साइड में झुकता है ना, वो थोड़ा सा हिंदुत्व की ओर झुके तो आनंद आ जाए, क्योंकि उनका समर्थन जो हिंदुत्व में मानता है वही करे. वो वामपंथी लोग कभी नहीं करते. तो ये समझ जाए वो लोग तो अच्छा है. तो मेरा यही अभी तक विचार है. कुछ ध्यान में आएगा तो और मैं बोल दूंगा. पर मेरा एक प्रश्न है कि क्या जो स्टेट कंट्रोल ओवर मैरिज है, हमारे सिविल जो राइट्स है, जैसे अडॉप्शन, मैरिज एंड और भी बहुत सारे इनहेरिटेंस और भी अन्य प्रकार के जो भी उसमें आते हैं, तो उससे क्या स्टेट कंट्रोल हट जाएगा?
उससे तो नहीं हटेगा. आई थिंक स्टेट कंट्रोल हटाने के लिए पहली बात तो मतलब वो जो स्टार्टिंग प्रेमिस है कि द वुमन इज ऑलवेज राइट, द मैन इज ऑलवेज रॉन्ग, वो स्टार्टिंग प्रेमिस है टू एड्रेस रियल प्रॉब्लम्स दैट वुमेन फेस इन विलेजेस, जो कि अप्लाई सिर्फ हो रहा है सिटीज में. वो प्रेमिसेस सबसे पहले हटाना होगा. नेशनल वुमेन्स कमीशन वगैरह ये सब नहीं हटेगा तो ये तो होने वाला नहीं है.
नहीं होगा या नहीं मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ, पर लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी के स्टैंड का क्या मानते कि वो क्या उनका क्या आइडियल गोल यही है कि जो मूल उद्देश्य है वो यही है कि विवाह की संस्था से सरकार का हस्तक्षेप हटा देंगे?
वैसा तो कुछ बोला नहीं मैनिफेस्टो में. आई डोंट रिमेंबर एग्जैक्टली. दे डिडंट, राइट?
नहीं, मैंने ऐसा सुना नहीं, पर इसीलिए मैं जानना चाहता था कि उनका इस पर सैद्धांतिक पक्ष क्या होगा.
So they are not in favor of getting out of the marriage business anytime soon, I guess.
So maybe
they are just avoiding controversy. Who knows?
लिबर्टेरियन. और दूसरा विषय है, मैं थोड़ा कंट्रोवर्शियल बात करूंगा. आप ध्यान से लोग सुने कि हमारे यहाँ जो डाउरी लॉ है, इज इट नॉट एंटी लिबर्टेरियनिज्म? क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ डाउरी का डेफिनेशन क्या है, पहले ये लोग समझे कि जो दुल्हन है उसके परिवार से, परिवार का कोई भी सदस्य या दुल्हन स्वयं यदि किसी प्रकार का पैसा या उपहार पति या होने वाले दूल्हे या उसके परिवार वालों को पैसा देता है तो उसको दहेज के अंतर्गत गिना जाता है।
आई सी।
ठीक है। अब मैं बोलता हूँ ठीक है, सामाजिक कुप्रथा है नहीं है वो एक अलग विषय है, पर कानूनन रूप से आप इसको अपराध कैसे बोल सकते हैं? अब दो लोग हैं, एक पत्नी के पक्ष का एक पति के पक्ष का, दोनों यदि आपसी सहमति से पैसों का लेन देन कर रहे हैं, आप उसको अपराध की श्रेणी में कैसे रखेंगे?
अच्छा,
यदि आप
ये ना मुझे पता
लिबर्टेरियन,
भी नहीं था कि ये अपराध है। तो ये अगर अपराध है तो माँ बाप क्या गिफ्ट नहीं देते हैं सन इन लॉ डॉटर इन लॉ को आजकल, या सन इन लॉ को? तो गिफ्ट अगर देते हैं तो क्या
वही
वो
मैं कह
इलीगली ही
रहा
दे
हूँ।
रहे हैं? तो वो इलीगली दे रहे हैं अभी
एक्चुअली
अभी इस वक्त?
एक्चुअली इलीगली दे रहे हैं, और ये तब पर कोई पुलिस में नहीं जाता इसकी शिकायत करने।
अच्छा।
वही बात है,
fuck।
जैसे ही पति पत्नी में झगड़ा होता है तो जो सास ससुर से आपको गिफ्ट मिला है कोट अनकोट,
हाँ।
वही दहेज हो जाता
फक। व्हाट द फक, ये तो पता भी नहीं था मुझे। होली शिट।
है। तो विषय वही है कि, और
गांडू
मेरा
लोग।
और एक तर्क है इस पे कि मान लीजिए
हाँ।
आप पति, जैसे मैं पति हूँ, मेरी पत्नी है,
हम्म।
मेरी आर्थिक दुर्गति हो जाती है, मेरा धंधा मार खा जाता है, या मैं बहुत बीमार पड़, अस्पताल
हम्म।
में हूँ, मुझे पैसों की आवश्यकता है। अब
हम्म।
मेरा साला या ससुर जी मेरी पैसों से सहायता करे तो वो भी दहेज उत्पीड़न है।
अरे तो देखो हमारा क्या प्रेमिसेस है लॉ बनाने के पीछे। कोई सोल्यूशन ओरिएंटेड नहीं है। सुनने में क्या अच्छा लगेगा वही प्रायोरिटी है। डाउरी में प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, बैन कर दो, हो गया, प्रॉब्लम चला गया।
अब मुझे मतलब ठीक है, एक्सटॉर्शन हो रहा है, मारपीट हो रही है, हिंसा हो रहा है किसी के साथ भी, ये तो पुरुष हो या स्त्री हो किसी के साथ भी हिंसा हो रहा है या धमकाया जा रहा है पैसे देने के लिए, तब उसको अपराध की श्रेणी में रखना बनता है। पर जहाँ आपस में इच्छा से लेन देन हो रहा है चाहे लाखों रुपए का, उसको आप अपराध कैसे बना सकते हैं? आप तो क्या बोल सकते हैं, आ, जो एक्सचेंज, जो वॉलंटरी एक्सचेंज ऑफ मनी
हाँ।
है, वॉलंटरी ट्रांजैक्शन है, उसको आप क्रिमिनलाइज कर दी सामाजिक
हाँ।
कुप्रथा को हटाने के चक्कर में।
हाँ।
तो वो कई सारे नए कुप्रथाओं को जन्म देती, जैसे कि आज हम
या।
देख,
हाँ।
तो मुझे नहीं पता लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी ने इन विषयों पर एक एक विषय पर सोचा है या नहीं। यदि वो एक एक विषय पर सोचेंगे तो ये जो आ, आपका, आपने जो डॉक्यूमेंट पढ़ा, मुझे नहीं पता ये कितने पृष्ठों का है, कितने पेजेस का है, ये नहीं भी तो 150-200 पेज के डॉक्यूमेंट हो यदि वो एक एक विषय पे
हाँ।
जाए
हाँ। तो या
तो।
ये पूछना पड़ेगा, ये ट्विटर में हम थोड़ा बात चलाएंगे कि डाउरी एक्ट काहे रहेगा, वो भी मैनिफेस्टो में घुसाते हैं। क्योंकि वैसे भी वो पावर में अभी नहीं आने वाले हैं, तो अभी तो सिर्फ स्टेटमेंट मेकिंग ही है। तो कंट्रोवर्सी काहे अवॉइड करना, ये इस पे भी बोल ही दो क्या बोलना है। इसमें भी देखते हैं क्या कौन सा लिबर्टेरियन पोजीशन है।
हाँ,
ओके। माडू यू हैव एनीथिंग एल्स टू ऐड?
नहीं, मूल रूप से तो यही बिंदु ऐड करने थे, और वो गन लॉस पर
हाँ।
हाँ एक बात है कि
हाँ।
मुझे, आप जो कह रहे हैं कि कोई इतना पागल हो सकता है कि अपनी जान को दांव पर लगा दे, पर यही है कि अ, भारत में अपराध की संख्या ऐसे भी अधिक है, और उस प्रकार से जान जाने का डर भारत में आया है नहीं लोगों को।
हाँ।
क्यों मैं कह रहा हूँ? क्योंकि जहाँ पे समृद्धि नहीं होती है ना, जहाँ पर गरीबी होती है, पैसों की किल्लत होती है, आप जानते हैं कि भूखों मर जाएंगे, वहाँ पर लोग कुछ भी करने को जल्दी तैयार हैं।
हम्म।
तो मुझे लगता है कि भारत के समृद्ध हुए बिना राइट टू आर्म्स वाला एक्ट लाना थोड़ा मुश्किल है, क्योंकि क्योंकि हिंसा उससे बढ़नी ही है, और जिस दिन राइट टू आर्म्स आएगा कुछ वर्षों तक बहुत अस्थिरता रहेगी आने के बाद, फिर धीरे धीरे विषय थोड़े से सरल होने लगे, कि लोग समझ जाएंगे कि नहीं भाई, मैं किसी को मारने जाऊंगा तो वो भी मुझे पलट के गोली मार सकता है। पहले पहले लोगों को समझ में नहीं आएगा कि कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हो सकते हैं। फिर जैसे धीरे धीरे परिस्थितियां समझ में आएंगी, लोग देखेंगे कि अरे मैं जाऊंगा किसी के यहाँ तो कोई मुझे गोली मार देगा, तो फिर थोड़ा लोग समझ जाएंगे कि शांत रहो, ज़्यादा उछलो मत। पर अभी के लिए मुझे लगता है कि भारत को पहले पैसे कमाने पर ध्यान देना चाहिए, फिर राइट टू आर्म्स पर जाना चाहिए। अभी वी शुड नॉट जंप द गन, दैट्स माय व्यू।
हम्म तो देखो, इंडिया तो वैसे वो सल्वाडोर बाबोनेस का तो डेटा यहाँ पे बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि जीडीपी पर कैपिटा तो अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज का जैसा है, मगर वैसा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का हाल क्यों नहीं है। तो समृद्धि कितना आने तक हम वेट करें, वो असली प्रश्न होगा यहाँ पे। कितना समृद्धि विल अलाउ अस टू हैव गन्स इजीली।
कितना समृद्धि, हाँ वो एक संख्या देना थोड़ा कठिन है मेरे विचार से।
हाँ,
वो भी
क्योंकि
है।
जो देश मतलब यूएसए से तो समृद्ध कोई है नहीं, तो उनका भी तो प्रॉब्लम्स चल ही रहा है, तो जीरो प्रॉब्लम्स का
नहीं
सल्यूशन तो
नहीं
नहीं होगा कुछ भी।
नहीं नहीं, मैं जीरो प्रॉब्लम्स की तो एकदम बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि देखिए हम जितने भी समृद्ध हो जाए, आ, बंदूक सबके पास आ भी जाए तो भी हिंसा हो, वो तो
यस।
कोई नहीं रोक सकता।
हाँ,
पर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अत्याधिक जब हिंसा होने लगे तो समस्या होगी,
हाँ,
वो है।
अत्यधिक नहीं होगा, क्योंकि मुझे जैसे लगता है कि जब वो जो इनिशियल डेज की थोड़ी बहुत वायलेंस इंक्रीज की जो तुम प्रेडिक्शन दे रहे हो, वो होगा मेनली विथ मतलब वो ब्रेकअप वगैरह सिचुएशंस में, जहाँ पे बहुत पैशनेट हो चुके हैं लोग, और मतलब एक गर्लफ्रेंड है, वो तो अभी लॉ आया है इसलिए अचानक बंदूक खरीद के नहीं, वो भी नहीं बैठ गई है, तो उसका एक्स आके उसको मार देता है। वो सब थोड़ा इंक्रीज होगा। मगर जो लोग मतलब देखो, ये लॉ भी तो थोड़ा काइंड ऑफ सोसाइटी में रेडीनेस आने के बाद ही आएगा। इसका डिस्कोर्स होगा, लोग इंटरेस्ट लेंगे, फिर लोगों को लगेगा कि ये आई एम इन अ वल्नरेबल सिचुएशन पॉलिटिकली, तो आई एम सेविंग अप फॉर अ गन, मे बी आई ट्रेन फॉर अ गन, और जब लॉ आ जाएगा तब आई एम रेडी। तो उन लोगों का जितना पॉलिटिकल डेथ्स कम हो जाएगा, दैट डेटा, दैट स्टैटिस्टिक्स विल ऑफसेट एनी पॉसिबल राइज इन ओवरऑल वायलेंस, आई थिंक, क्योंकि बहुत लोगों के जान बचने भी वाले हैं इमीडिएटली आफ्टर द लॉ कम्स इनटू फोर्स। वो भी आता है।
कि हाँ, मैं ऑनेस्टली मैं आपसे कहूँ तो मैं गन लॉ को लेकर बहुत स्ट्रांग स्टैंड नहीं रखता हूँ, विरोध में या पक्ष
अच्छा।
में।
हम्म।
मैं थोड़ा इसमें असमंजस में हूँ।
हम्म।
और एक बात है कि आ, हो सकता है ये डिस्टॉर्शन के कारण भी हुआ, जो स्पोर्ट्स को लेकर यहाँ बात हुई थी।
हाँ।
ओके, तो यहाँ पे बोला गया कि सारे रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज को हटा देंगे, चैरिटी इंस्टीट्यूशंस खोलेंगे, जैसे अडानी वाला, नीरज चोपड़ा
या।
के नाम पर कुछ उन्होंने बोला था।
हाँ, हाँ,
मुझे ये भय है कि बीसीसीआई में जैसा हुआ ना, बीसीसीआई भी प्राइवेट थी, और देखा जाए तो वो सबसे सफल है प्राइवेट
हाँ, हाँ।
बॉडी क्रिकेट की, पर उसको
हम्म।
पॉलिटिशियंस ने कैप्चर कर दिया,
हम्म।
यदि हमने देखा हो।
हाँ।
राइट, तो मुझे लगता है ये सारे जो प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन बनेंगे, स्पोर्ट्स बॉडीज, क्या इसको भी फिर हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस कैप्चर कर लेंगे?
यहाँ पे
और
दो बात है
इससे,
कि देखो, अगर हाँ, बोलो, पहले कंप्लीट कर लो।
हाँ तो उसको भी पॉलिटिशियंस कैप्चर कर लेंगे, और फिर पॉलिटिशियंस कैप्चर कर ले तो गवर्नमेंट का तो फिर एक प्रकार से इन्फ्लुएंस आ ही जाता है। मैंने देखा है कि
हम्म।
बीसीसीआई पर क्लियरली है।
हाँ, तो यहाँ पे मेरा कहना है कि देखो, पहली बात है कि बीसीसीआई में जो इन्फ्लुएंस है पॉलिटिशियंस का, वो हुआ तो हुआ, उससे क्या हुआ, मतलब हमारा तो क्रिकेट टीम अभी भी और भी बेहतर ही बनते जा रहा है, तो ऐसे नेगेटिव रिजल्ट्स तो आए नहीं। सेकेंडली, वो पॉलिटिशियंस खुद अगर पावरलेस हो बिकॉज ऑफ अ लिबर्टेरियन सिचुएशन, तब उनका ये बाकी सब चुतियापा भी करना कम होना ही है बाय डिफॉल्ट, क्योंकि उनके पास उतना पावर ही तो नहीं है। वो छड़ी घुमाने का जो पावर हमने दे रखा है, उसके वजह से ये सब हो रहा है। और थर्डली, हमारा जितना पैसा वेस्ट हो रहा है खाली पीली के 50-100 स्पोर्ट्स को जीवित रखने में, जो कि कोई नहीं देखता है, कोई देखेगा भी नहीं, कोई देखने वाले स्पोर्ट्स है ही नहीं उसमें, उनमें से बहुत स्पोर्ट्स गिने कैसे जाते हैं वही मुझे पता नहीं है। वो स्पोर्ट्स में हमारा फालतू का टैक्स पेयर का पैसे का सत्यानाश तो इमीडिएटली बंद करना ही चाहिए।
हाँ, मैं गवर्नमेंट जो स्पोर्ट्स बॉडीज बना के रखा है, कुश्ती का एक और उसका एक, अब मुझे लगता है कि ओलंपिक में बस मेडल जीते इसीलिए बना कर रखा है और जीतते
हाँ,
भी नहीं।
मेडल जीतो, फिर सब्जी बेचो 20 साल बाद, और फिर नौकरी के लिए घुसो उसमें।
हाँ, वो भी है। और एक मेरे मन में एक प्रश्न आ गया आपसे बात करते करते
हाँ
कि हमारे यहाँ रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज है, जैसे अ, खाने में मिलावट ना हो, एफएसएसएआई है,
हाँ हाँ
या अमेरिका में भी है, एफडीए है,
हाँ
औषधियों के लिए, मेडिसिन के लिए। इंडिया में मुझे ध्यान नहीं आ रहा कौन सा बॉडी है जो मेडिसिन को रेगुलेट करती है।
हम्म
तो ऐसे बहुत सारे रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज है, स्पेशली इन सेक्टर्स में, फूड, मेडिसिन,
राइट।
मे बी सिविल इंजीनियरिंग में बिल्डिंग्स जो बनाते हैं,
अच्छा।
फलाना ढिमकाना।
हम्म
तो इन रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज को लेकर क्या स्टैंड है? एकदम हटा देने का? क्योंकि
अम, नहीं, प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ लाइफ, लिबर्टी एंड प्रॉपर्टी अगर दायित्व है गवर्नमेंट का, तो उसमें तो ये भी आता है। तो थोड़ा बहुत डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन या फिर थोड़ा बहुत डीरेगुलेशन कुछ तरह से तो करना होगा, क्योंकि अभी पावर बहुत है, हैरेसमेंट बहुत है, और रेगुलेशन लौड़े का कुछ है भी नहीं। जो जी में जाए कुछ कुछ भी चीज प्रोटीन शेक के नाम पे बेच रहा है, और मतलब रेस्टोरेंट्स में भी क्वालिटी कंट्रोल नाम का कोई चीज हार्डली है। तो अल्टीमेटली वो सेल्फ सर्टिफिकेशन और लोगों का सर्टिफिकेशन, ऑनलाइन में रेटिंग्स देना, गाली देना, वो आई थिंक अल्टीमेटली बेटर पॉलिसी ही है। और फिर हमारा टैक्स पेयर्स मतलब खर्चा कम हो जाता है ये सब फालतू के रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज रखने में। उनके एम्प्लॉयज कम करवाओ, जितना बिना ना हो या चल नहीं रहा है, तो सिर्फ उसके लिए 2-4 एम्प्लॉय रखो। अभी तो एक इमेजिनेशन है कि हाँ, ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हम रखेंगे और ये पूरा का पूरा क्वालिटी कंट्रोल कर देगा हर फूड प्रोडक्ट का पूरे देश में, इसलिए बहुत सारे लोगों को बिठा के बहुत सारे पैसे दो। वो तो उनका रिजल्ट वैसा नहीं है, तो इसलिए हमारा एक्सपेंडिचर उनके ऊपर पहले कम करते हैं।
हाँ, मतलब मैं इसमें थोड़ा टोन दूँ थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि
हम्म
कुछ चीज़ों में ना कि बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा सेंसिटिव बातें होती है। जैसे जो
हम्म
लोग सर्जरी करते हैं, उनका उनके पास सर्टिफिकेशन होना। जैसे आप किसी भी अरे गहरे को सर्जरी का अधिकार नहीं दे सकते।
हाँ
दैट इज़ वेरी डिट्रीमेंटल। फिर
हाँ
फिर आप और भी बहुत सारे क्षेत्र, जैसे अभी मैंने जिनको कहा वो सारी बातें।
हम्म
तो
देखो, वैसे अरे गहरे के
मतलब
पास कोई सर्जरी के लिए जाएगा क्यों?
सॉरी, मैं सुन नहीं
कोई
पाया।
अरे गहरे के पास कोई सर्जरी के लिए जाएगा क्यों?
नहीं नहीं, अरे गहरे के पास सर्जरी के लिए जाएगा नहीं, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आ, कोई मतलब लगा दिया पोस्टर कि आई एम अ सर्जन, और ऐसे ही कहीं से
हम्म
भी सर्टिफिकेट छाप के ले आया।
हम्म
वही बात है। तो प्रॉपर बॉडीज रहे, जिसके ऊपर लोगों को विश्वास रहे कि हाँ, ये जो सर्टिफिकेशन लाया है ये प्रॉपर है, और ये
हम्म
सर्जरी में कुछ उल्टा सीधा नहीं करेगा।
हम्म
दैट्स द पॉइंट कि
हम्म
आप आप ऐसे, मतलब कोई सिस्टम होना चाहिए जस्ट टू वेरीफाई कि हाँ ये व्यक्ति क्वालिफाइड। दैट्स द,
हम्म
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ
ओके
कि
मारू। हाँ,
हाँ
बोलो।
ठीक है।
आ, हाँ, और भी 2 गेस्ट हैं तो अभी उनको ले लेते हैं,
हाँ हाँ हाँ,
अनलेस यू
आप
हैव
बात कर लीजिए।
एनी मोर इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स।
ऐसे तो बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स हैं, फिर भी मुझे लगता
ठीक
है
है, फिर बाद में अगर
आपको
टाइम हो
और भी
फिर से
अतिथियों
तुमको
को
लेते
लेना
हैं।
चाहिए।
हाँ, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट है ऋषभ। हेलो ऋषभ।
हाय दादा, मेरा आवाज
हाँ
ठीक से आ रहा है ना?
हाँ
परफेक्ट। हाँ, some problem with StreamYard on my, not sure क्या है, but
हम्म
आज I had a couple of questions when I
हम्म
was intermittently listening to the stream.
हम्म
Uh, some very good points were raised, but एक दो points है which are like a little bit, things that might not work out well in the
हम्म
long run in that manifesto. So if it's okay with you, 2 मिनट लेके एक तो प्रीफेस
हाँ
करके एक क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा मैं, ठीक है?
हाँ हाँ
अ, तो जो प्राइमरी सेक्टर होता है इकोनॉमी का, विच इज लाइक एनीथिंग दैट इज एक्सट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम नेचर, फार्मिंग, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, मतलब बेसिक
हम्म
पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, माइनिंग,
हम्म
these are, naturally, number one, inflationary by nature, number two, very
हम्म
important for uh, national security today. Okay, so both
हम्म
of these points I want to touch. First, let me talk about naturally inflationary, because the
हम्म
point here is कि अगर suppose, as an example, if a farmer is able to sell his product at a higher price, that means higher food inflation for the rest of
हम्म
the country, right?
हम्म
So, इसीलिए a lot of the time this can create larger problems for the rest of the country, and this is why
but that
every
would,
country in India.
in
Mhm.
that situation, the payments for the middleman goes down, and therefore we don't have that much food inflation, right?
Yeah, I understand that point. वो तो definitely बकवास चीज है, एक तो ये middleman वाला system, वो तो,
हाँ
that is an issue. But my larger like concern on a theoretical level is why governments, like most governments in the world, step in over here from India to Japan to the US, is
हम्म
you need to balance these two things out. Number one, you need to
हम्म
make sure that your farmers get a good enough competitive, good enough, whatever government set
yeah
rates. But
yeah
on the other hand, उसका compensation जो food inflation होगा, वो manage करना
हम्म
होगा for the rest of the consumers. So in a
हाँ
free market,
हम्म
how is that measured? How will that work out? Is something I don't know how it will be done. Like I thought about it at length. Very
हम्म
frankly, I think this might be one of the problems of the free market thing, and I just want to have a conversation about this because I want to be realistic.
हम्म
I take libertarianism, free market economies very seriously. It's not an
हाँ
academic discussion, not just an academic discussion for me. It's something that
हाँ
is very real world. So इसका एक
हाँ
real world का I was just hoping कि थोड़ा सा एक discussion हो जाए. And the second
हम्म
thing is the national security aspect.
हम्म
Again, for this, a small preface is, why is Africa, which is as poor as us or poorer, but वहाँ पे खाना का मतलब food prices are through the roof, which then
हम्म
creates high inflation, and
हम्म
consequently, even though these countries are as poor as us. Of course, एक तो demographic dividend वाला economies of scale वाला issue भी हो जाता है. But even then, oftentimes a lot of things over there are very expensive, which creates a cost of living crisis for these countries. One of the big
हम्म
issue over here was that Africa gave up its sovereignty on food production itself by opening up to a lot of these Western companies. And as a result of that, not only did they face food inflation, they also faced a national security issue कि उनका जो food grains का basic staples का supply chain है, because there are a lot of issues with GM and everything. It's
हम्म
completely controlled by the West, and so they become
हाँ
dependent on these Western countries. और अगर वो लोग, if they step out of line, that supply chain gets
yeah
cut,
yeah
and then they face a problem with uh, producing food in their own country.
hmm
So
did,
this becomes a national security issue. Mhm.
did their food security issue come up because of opening up their markets to the West, or because of taking so much their politicians taking so much bribe in the name of aid, close to $1 billion every year, which they used to then help out only certain companies in certain ways, in distorted corrupt ways, because their aids are a huge,
It's Mhm.
those aids go
Right.
on getting into Africa, and they go on remaining poor without having a truly free market.
Right. I totally get your point. But in that case, my follow-up would be ke, how do
Hmm.
we avoid that? Because see, ultimately the thing is कि why are we not opening up to the US right now? Our food and dairy sectors, why aren't we opening them up to the US right now? Because issue यही है. Even if you don't take bribes, you will not be able to compete. You will not be able to compete. These people will come in. These people will own your food production, and then that becomes a national security issue. And this is tied into a larger, thought that's been
Yeah.
at the back of my mind, which is
Hmm.
today there is this new chain of thought that has come out that everything is national security, right? Your economy is
Yeah.
national security, your fishing is national security, your agriculture is national security,
Yeah.
mining is national security. Everything is national security these days. Service sector
Hmm.
job, uh, all,
Yes.
all of the outsourcing that happens becomes national security for us today.
Yes.
That thought process and उनका बात गलत नहीं है. It is a national
Hmm.
security issue now.
Yeah.
But that thought process will automatically lead to government trying to exert influence on these
Yeah.
sectors, which will, in the long run, inevitably harm us.
Hmm.
How do we negotiate this path forward? Then?
Hmm. This needs domain expertise, I think, and people
Hmm.
who have crunched a lot of numbers. Because, there has to be a balance off the top of my head, I think, in terms of how much we can allow. Because you are right on that aspect that USA, businessmen of USA will simply come in and own all our food resources and food selling companies, etc., food growing companies. Then what?
Hmm.
And then their government is not libertarian one fine morning, let's say. They
It's
are not
not.
right now anyway. And then what do we
Hmm.
do? So yeah, we
Yeah,
can't behave like ANCAP retards on this. So yes, there has to be a balance struck somewhere.
exactly. 250 billion with a beat dollars annually given as subsidies by the US government to their farmers. How do you
Yeah.
compete with that? Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think these are the things that we need to start having discussions on to, create a framework on how do we achieve these things. I think
देखो मेन प्रॉब्लम ना
with
क्या
domain
है कि
experts.
ये जो
Hmm.
लिबर्टन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया का मैनिफेस्टो है, ये लेके जो हम यहाँ पे डिबेट कर रहे हैं यूट्यूब में बैठ के, वो नहीं होना चाहिए था. मोर सीरियस पीपल शुड टेक अप दीज डिबेट्स. वो नहीं हो रहा है
Absolutely.
अगेन बिकॉज ऑफ ईगोज दैट द सेम रीजन दैट अ डिबेट बिटवीन कुशल एंड देसाई दीपक नेवर हैपेंड एटसेट्रा. तो
Hmm.
चलो हम ही शुरू करते हैं, कभी ना कभी और भी एजुकेटेड लोग इस पे डिबेट करेंगे. मगर डिबेट तो उन पे ही होना है बिकॉज ऑन सो मेनी थिंग्स ऑन सो मेनी टॉपिक्स इन द मैनिफेस्टो इवन आई एम अ फेंस सिटर, आई वांट टू बी मोर एजुकेटेड ऑन दिस एंड देन कम टू अ डिसीजन. वो तो नहीं हो रहा है. तो
Hmm.
लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया का वाइब देख के लोग उसको एंटी हिंदू, अर्बन नक्सल, एंटी इंडिया सब घोषणा करते फिरेंगे. और वो भी उसमें वाइब वही देते रहेंगे क्योंकि वो लोग तो है ही अर्बन रेज्ड किड्स है. उनके लिए उतना मतलब अभी धार्मिक वाइब्स देना पॉसिबल भी है नहीं है. और अगर धार्मिक वाइब्स के ऊपर ही एक पार्टी का मैनिफेस्टो डिस्कस किया जाए तो तब पूछना पड़ेगा कि भाई धार्मिक वाइब्स देके ना देके किसने क्या उखाड़ लिया. सब धार्मिक वाइब्स अब सिर्फ और सिर्फ लिबर्टेरियन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया के ही देना है अपेरेंटली. तो अब तुम दोनों ही साइड बैठे रहो वाइब्स के लिए, हम मैनिफेस्टो डिस्कस करते हैं. जिन लोगों को एक्चुअल मैनिफेस्टो डिस्कस करना चाहिए वो लोग नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे.
I said, यही तो problem है. This is the whole problem that I have with the whole Gurukul discussion. कि गुरुकुल होना चाहिए नहीं होना चाहिए. अरे क्या एक नाम का डिफरेंस है ना. स्कूल्स को रन द स्कूल्स एज गुरुकुल्स.
Hmm.
नाम
Yeah.
में क्या रखा है. नाम में क्या रखा है. जस्ट डू द ब्लडी वर्क, रिजल्ट्स विल
Hmm.
फॉलो. ये जिस दिन ये
हाँ.
देश में बात समझ जाएगा ना, क्या कर लेंगे हम
हाँ.
लोग.
हाँ. Okay, Rishabh, if you have anything else to add, you go ahead. Or otherwise, we'll take in the next guest.
नहीं, that was also my end. Thank you, दादा. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you, Rishabh. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Now we have. Oh, finally, he is visible. अरे बाकी लोग काहे visible नहीं थे? ये क्या टूल किट गैंग ने देखो यूएसए आईडी लेके स्ट्रीम यार्ड के साथ डील वील करके रखा है. ठीक है, ये क्या मैजिक है? What the fuck is doing? How is this possible?
I have paid. I have paid subscription. So
That's what StreamYard has
libertarian
done. Oh my God, ये होने वाला है. ये कैपिटलिज्म का फाइनल
StreamYard
वार आ गया हमारे ऊपर कि जो पेड सब्सक्रिप्शन नहीं रहेगा उसका थोबड़ा नहीं दिखाएंगे हम. गरीब लोगों के लिए नहीं है StreamYard आज से. What the fuck?
StreamYard has become anarcho-capitalist. Okay, actually, I have something to say. That's why I came. So, first of all, I have a hunch. Okay, the hunch is there. Libertarianism as a economic policy is very good. Okay,
Hmm.
when they go into geopolitical domain or pure political domain, okay, then it becomes a problem because they do not have that domain knowledge to actually understand and comprehend the policies they are making, how they are going to shape the society, shape the policy, shape the economic sector itself. Okay, the third, fourth, fifth effect, okay, generation effect
Yeah.
that will be there. So there, I think lack of understanding of how nation states work, currently how they function. A very good example was given by Rishabh, that $500 billion of subsidy is given to US farmers. Okay,
Yeah.
forget about what is being given to EU in their own farmers. Okay,
Yeah.
so when they are talking about no barrier to foreign money coming into India, okay, then you are looking at a still now, correct? US dollar is a reserve currency.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a disproportionate purchasing power, power is which is there with the US.
I
So
agree.
if you're going to allow that thing to happen, see, when me and you, okay, are at the same level, okay, then I can fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now, it is that okay, America is 5 feet tall and I am 2 feet.
Yeah.
So when you are in that kind of situation, you cannot talk about ideal policies. They only are applicable when you have an environment which can foster it.
But
So
Bhupenda,
without
we have right now allowed 100% FDI, right?
in what? In
In
insurance, I
everything.
think they do have insurance. Insurance do have.
So 100% FDI is not in everything.
No. See,
In what all
what
sectors?
happens generally is that even if it's 100%, so there are some core sectors like defense, communications, where they make communication equipment. Okay. Example, so that's correct. The Chinese manufacturer Huawei. Okay, their investment has to go through a security check. So there are core
Yeah.
sectors where even if you allow 100% investment, they will need a security clearance. Only then they can
Yeah.
function. Okay. And anyway, government has the veto to actually block it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the like safety valve which is there as of now. The National Security Act is utilized as a safety valve whenever they see something going wrong. Correct. Example, correct. The Chinese apps which were abusing people. If you see, the Chinese loan shark apps were there, and government banned it
Yeah.
as a threat. Correct.
Yeah.
So that
Fair
is
enough.
a safety valve we have as of
Yeah.
now. But anyway, some amount of FDI would be required. There is no question about it. FDI has to be there to make the economics much more better, more competition, more investment coming in. So that has to be there. My only concern with the manifesto is that this manifesto is created like whole world is a libertarian. China is not libertarian.
Yeah, that often happens. Yes.
Okay, so my correct. The only point, probably the one of the points I agree with M. Shastri is that they are a bit naive in terms of like Sri Ramchandra. Okay, if Ramchandra was today alive, he would not live one day because there are so many bad people. He would not survive with his values. Okay, same way when we are making an economic policy, I would suggest LPI stick to economic policies. Okay, do not as of now create a geo-economic or politics into it. Just have economic agenda that we want to improve the economy, improve entrepreneurship, improve transparency, make people lives better, less corruption. But when they go into politics and geopolitics, they have no depth because the whole world is literally fucked up right now with China, Japan, EU.
When they came on our podcast, then back then also they clarified that on geopolitics they are going to be largely aligned with whatever our geopolitics strategy is today. And if they allow for 100% FDI, that's already being done anyway.
No, I am saying correct. Their policies are going to have a geopolitical impact. If they allow foreign money to come in, foreign crypto to come in, how do you verify that crypto or foreign money is not from some drug lord? Correct.
Yeah.
We already know billions of dollars have passed through Hong Kong Bank and Citibank.
Yeah.
Correct. Drug money. Correct.
Yeah.
Blood diamond money.
Yeah.
Corruption money has come in. Correct. Dubai
Yeah.
is full of corruption money.
Hmm.
Okay. So now, if you are going to close your eyes and say, okay, the whole world is libertarian, let's make policy as assuming every country follows libertarian policies, then you are going to be fucked up. That's a reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that they have to understand. Okay, one policy you make, and if you're going to have an open market, that policy will have political consequences, that will have economic consequences, that will have geopolitical consequences over
Yes.
a third, fourth, 5-tier effect. So that is
Yeah.
something which is not being understood. It's being a little bit naive. I'll say, you correct. You as you mentioned by one of our common friends, that we'll say a very good person, but he's doing everything wrong. His good intentions, but end of the day, what he's doing is going to end up screwing a lot of people with good intentions. So that's my submission.
Yeah, but how is it different from what we have already? We have 100% FDI already. And the
No,
checks you mentioned, those
it
checks
goes
can be
to
carried on by LPI as well.
Yes, see, that is the problem. Today, a nation state is a very, very complex entity, organism. Okay. There are so many layers. See, right now, government is in everything that we do. From the mobile
Yes.
phone we buy, from food we eat, how we walk, where we travel, everything is government has its tentacles in it. Okay. So first we have to untangle the tentacles. Only then you can actually do that. Right now, correct example, they say, okay, we will phase out subsidies in a timely manner, not abruptly, but slowly. Example, I will be a devil's advocate. Okay, that Narendra Modi is doing the same thing. Okay, he first had he first had GST, high GST, then low GST, then through Sanjeev Sanyal they are doing process level reforms one at a time.
Yeah.
So they are doing very, very, very slowly. They want it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Narendra Modi said maybe 6 years ago that government has no business doing business. Correct? Narendra Modi had said. Correct.
Yeah.
So he also had the same kind of intention, but due to politics, he could not do this.
Of course.
Because of political considerations that they have. So my submission is that LPI, rather than have a small set of policies which are going to make common people's life better. Okay, do not everybody can come and buy land here. Example, correct? Everybody can buy land here. Then the American people will buy every land here because they have the money now. Correct? Then they will again sell that same at a higher cost. So don't have those kinds of policies which are going to have a long-term bad impact.
Yeah, on buying land, I'm not on board with their idea. Buying land,
so
there's a problem.
So that's what. So choose maybe a 10 set of policies which can be implemented, which will not have a bad impact, which will make people's life better. Correct, like the farm laws. If you see like what LPI is saying we will do, they have already done this via the state farm laws.
Yeah.
Almost in all BJP ruled states by a backhand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are doing it, but they are not saying we are libertarian and we are doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that is the case.
the reason BJP is doing it is because they know it's good for the country. The reason Congress first proposed it was also because they knew it was good for the country. Now, everyone in the end has to play some shenanigans to execute those laws because most people are not convinced or most people don't know that it's in fact good for the country. So therefore, in this context, Libertarian Party of India's benefit comes in that they are unabashedly going around saying that this is what is good for the country. And for that, as much as they disrupt, that's good. And in the end, if BJP or Congress steals all their policies and calls it their own, there's no problem. Congress can call it they got it from the Pope. BJP can say they found it in Manusmriti. There's no problem. In the end, these policies matter. Now, LPI is not giving people the vibes they want, but again, they in the end also have the policies that would work out for the best of the country, for the betterment of the country. So I think them being too defanged would not be in our best interest.
No, no, no.
Them
I
being
am not saying of defend.
that
Correct.
probably would be great. That would keep on
No, no.
pushing the conversation.
I have never said defang. I would suggest LPI to hire some geopolitical political analysts and get them into podcast and let them explain what exactly it means. So people see you understand a little bit of what they say. I understand a little bit of what they say, so I can criticize it. Correct. So that is
Yeah.
the communication gap. They are telling something which is going to inherently be bad. We know it, right hand here, because we know how the things exactly work in international politics, international geopolitics. We know it inherently.
Yeah.
They don't know it. So that's why they're
Yeah.
putting it on there. Correct. So that bad PR needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay then, Bhupenda, if you have anything else to add.
No, all done. Okay, just tomorrow we have a podcast in Bengali regarding Marwadi people suffered in Bangladesh. So I would ask people to join tomorrow.
Okay, great. Okay then,
Yeah,
thanks a lot
thank
for
you.
joining the
Bye.
podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks for joining today's live stream, guys. Remember to donate if possible to my legal causes and my troubles and my case squashing. See you soon. Bye.
যদি সবাই ফিরে যায় ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায় যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায় তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা জলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে